You froze. Oh, I heard you start saying something, and then it cut out a little bit. I can hear what you're saying though. That would probably be helpful, considering you're in Arkansas. I'm surprised they even have like cell
You might
service
think
in
that.
Arkansas.
We don't. There's a there's a guy in Missouri that translates it for us. Yeah. We smoke signal. Uh,
Smoke signal Wi-Fi.
this is so weird because I'm so used to. Look, now we have some people.
Yeah, yeah.
So did you read the what's the latest on our friend today, Peter
Um.
Hegson?
Oh, yeah. I haven't read anything today. I was reading. Comments are already asking about your fancy pencil. You got one on you? Always.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Thanks, Crystal. Oh, listen, I also just got these in. Right, they're square.
Well, the whole pencil is square now.
The whole pencil's
So
square.
then, why do you
It's,
need the square eraser tip if the whole pencil's
no,
square?
it's a limited. It's a special edition.
Mm.
But I'm going to be real honest with you. I like it better.
You do?
I'm going to send you some.
Okay. Hey, I still need my sweatshirt too. I see Twig already got shit, but I still haven't gotten anything.
Well, she ordered it from the merch store. I didn't send her
Oh,
anything.
oh, I got
I'm
you.
not
Okay.
sending people things. No. I need your text me your address and I'll send it. It's just hanging out. Um, if it sits much longer, a dog's gonna get it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why I need to get it here. I need it in my life since I didn't have it for the protest.
look at the. I love these pencils though. Damn it, I like them.
Have you ever
All
had a
those all
conversation that
those
didn't involve
mistakes.
pencils at some point?
I didn't bring it up this time, did I?
That's true.
Uh, um, I don't make many mistakes. Typically, I just write it. I don't know what that's about. Um, it it's not that it's much bigger. It's just it's a flat, so it
Also,
uh,
the eraser is adjustable. That is kind of
yeah,
cool.
for when it runs out. It's a good pencil. I think everybody should buy them. Um, so what did he say today?
I haven't read or seen if he said anything today specifically, but I know yesterday and the day before, after all of the war crime double tap stuff came out, um, he's very much like taking responsibility by also pushing the responsibility on to everybody else. But I really do feel like we're getting kind of close to our first Nuremberg trials here.
So I was I was talking to someone yesterday that's in the military, fairly. I don't say fairly high up, but in circles with people that are, and that whole throwing the admiral under the bus is not going to go well.
Yeah, what they say.
So that I'm interested to see. I'd like to see how that shakes out because you're not going to get an admiral to agree to something like that's not going to go. They're not just going to go down like somebody's epically.
Well, so I'm curious to see if the buck is going to stop with Hegseth or if this is going to get pushed all the way down to, some poor plebe at the bottom who was involved in pushing a button somewhere. Which I mean they should be held responsible too, but like obviously ideally Hegseth and the Admiral who allowed these attacks to go through because Halsey stepped down for refusing to take these orders. He was removed from his position and then resigned or
Yeah.
retired. And that's what every admiral should be doing, is refusing until they're removed.
Here's what I do know about what had to have happened was that, and uh, I don't know Bradley, but I can say that if you are in that position, you didn't get there on accident. Like you've been through war training, like you've done the things. There had to have been at least a conversation of, do you have intelligence on this? Am I covered because this looks bad? Like
Yeah.
that conversation took place. Now, whether Hegseth wants to say, "Oh, I left the room, I didn't watch this,"
Which also
No
like
fucking way.
you're in the room for it, and he bragged about being in the room for it. And then how much longer later was that second strike? Like you want to tell me that they just watched this boat burn for an hour and then decided to blow it up again and he had already left the room? Like I feel like that had to be pretty back to back on that.
When the when all of the when all the statements coming out of it are Hegseth said kill them all.
Mhm.
That is a secondary statement. That bomb the boat. There's two left. Kill them all. Like that's how that fucking happened. You'll never
Right.
convince me otherwise. And that admiral said you can't do that, and he had to convince him that it was legal. That there was domestic authority in there. They used the Israeli doctrine or something. I mean, um, there was language used that told an admiral he was covered because they're not stupid. They've read the fucking books.
Right. Of course, I mean, again, this admiral was put in place by this administration because the admiral that wouldn't do these things because they weren't stupid was removed. So,
Yeah.
could be a stupid admiral.
I think even if he did it thinking that, hey, this is illegal, but I'm covered, he's not
Yeah.
stupid. Like he knows that what happened was. I also don't think they're going to go down like that. Like, there's no way an admiral is going to go. Just because Hegseth says he made the right decision doesn't mean that Senate and and Congress finds that he made the right decision. You
Right.
know, um, I somebody will go. Somebody's going to jail.
Well, but then do we get into an Ollie North situation, where one person they everybody just agrees that this is the person who takes the fall for everything and then immediately pardoned and then runs the NRA a few years later?
I'm not sure how this is going to align with North because that was more.
It was definitely more covert, so it was a lot harder to find the paper trail up to the top the way that this is pretty easy to find that it leads directly to Hegseth.
Well, I think I think what North has going is that is pardonable because it's not international. I mean, it is technically.
Yeah, it was Iran and the Sandinistas in Nicaragua.
I think there. I think you're looking at murder on this,
Yeah.
as well as. I think you're looking at murder on this as well as. And I don't think he can pardon that.
I mean, if it's a federal conviction, he can pardon whatever he wants. He's already pardoned people for war crimes, individual soldiers who are murdering
Yeah.
people and um
I mean, he's lame duck anyway. He doesn't give a shit. He'll pardon them, but it's going to be.
well, and here's the other question is the length of time that this will take. Does Trump live that long?
Yeah, but that guy's fucking toast. I mean, I don't. He won't make 4 years. I don't think he cares. Um, the interesting thing will be: will they go ahead and push the investigation and the conviction now, or will they let it go? There's a lot of Democrats that are very upset that Hakeem Jeffries is not pushing for it at this moment. I think if he's holding on to it, it will be to get through the midterm, so that there can't be as much of a. There's a lot better chance of conviction and holding on to that. Whatever they'll get to make decisions on what the charges and stuff
I
will be. Yeah. Yeah, you're frozen, but I can hear you.
Camera off.
Probably to you. Uh, yeah, in a roundabout way. You're moving. Um, I'll say, yeah, international court intervening only keeps him from traveling outside the U.S. Two countries that
Yeah.
give a shit. I mean, he get as he could go. Um,
Argentina already bought that $40 billion bribe to have their Nazi escape plan 2.0. Why is it always Argentina?
it's nice there. I mean, I guess if you're places, it
Mm-hmm.
it's close, it's nice. Um, I think at one time there was probably a lot to do with egress and ingress, like whether or not people could get to you. You have to go all the way through. Either have to come over a mountain range in the water, or you know Brazil. But now Brazil is probably not as safe as it once was for international
Yeah.
terrorists. Um, I the trouble that I have with the whole thing, I don't even really understand the operation in and of itself. I know that it's oil and it's Venezuela, but the bombing of the boats, is it?
No,
What do
so
you think? Is it
I mean,
just
it's Marco Rubio. It's 100% Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio has a vendetta against Venezuela and the regime there because they have been Cuba's biggest ally. He's Cuban descent and is not a fan of the Cuban communist regime. Has been very much pushing to sever the ties between Venezuela and Cuba for his entire political career. And I think that this is because this is why it always changes why Venezuela is a threat, right? But it always goes back to whatever I can get convince Trump to throw this in. There's no drugs there. Like they're not a drug producing country. They're not even
right?
really a drug trafficking country. Like sure, they're a transit country. Like drugs from Colombia move through them sometimes. And it's not even fentanyl. But like that's really what it comes down to is he's trying to either instigate a war or a regime change like we're back in the fucking 60s. And and Rubio's just up there pulling the puppet strings. Trump's too stupid to understand that he's being played, and that's why.
Of it. Like you and I talked about that in DC quite a bit about the Rubio angle. I don't understand the
Mhm.
bombing of the boats as it pertains to. Uh, is it an attempt to instigate something that would?
I would say
Because
it's
I
an
don't think
attempt to
Maduro is going to
instigate
do it.
no, I know. I think it's an attempt to instigate. They're hoping that there's something that escalates there. I mean, obviously they moved an entire carrier strike group in, again,
Mhm.
still attempting to instigate or elevate the situation. But then on top of that, it's setting up precedent. If they convince the American people that, for months we've been running operations to prevent narco terrorists from attacking the United States, then you elevate that to, well, we're doing a land invasion or we're doing operations that are attacking targets on land. You can't just go. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to tell the American people they hadn't heard about Venezuela at all, and then suddenly we're going to war with Venezuela or hitting hard targets on land. So I think that it's the soft sell point of there's all this ambiguity that they can sell. Both.
I don't. I don't like your internet connection at all. I hate your internet connection. Hang on one second. People keep following you.
Connection calling me on the phone. They're calling me on the cell phone.
You need better friends.
Give me that look.
Um, I I think you're gonna have hard to. I think maybe they thought they could sell a war on it. I don't think you're gonna have a hard time convincing an American public that we need to fight Venezuela. When you've convinced a public, and I know that like some people are gonna go along with it, but I mean like on the whole, when you've convinced a public for so long that we are the biggest, baddest boy on the block, why you got to go fight? Like, why do you have to
Yeah.
fight Venezuela? Um, we're
Mhm.
supposed to be the helper nation against regimes and not. not instigators. That's the part I think they're. I think that's the part they've over. Uh, they're overconfident in is
Mhm.
people aren't going to
I
see it the way they
agree.
want to see it.
I don't think you're ever gonna get the American public to go along with. I mean, first of all, the American public doesn't want, in general, boots on the ground anywhere, right? Like we've been through the 20+ years of war. You know, most of our entire lives have been at war. You know, the majority of both of our lives, and the vast majority of the American public was at war in the Middle East for shit that made no sense, and then to try to push us in something that again is a really tough sell, like narco terrorism, like drug runners 1,000 miles away. That's what we need to put American lives in jeopardy for. Like that's what we need to start meddling in another foreign war. It just doesn't seem like they would be able to sell the American public on that, no matter what angle they take, unless they set up some sort of false flag where there's a terror attack on U.S. soil that they blame on Venezuela. Like, I'm not saying that that's what happened with 9/11, but to get the same 9/11 hoorah, fuck yeah, America effect, but I still don't even think they can pull that off because people
The
are too suspicious.
the thing about here's the problem with instigating false flags anymore is that then you have to convince a people that all of the shit you told them was for their safety, all the data collection, all the shit that we gave up for the last 30 years that was supposed to protect us from that thing didn't fucking work, and now you look.
Hmm.
That I think is a harder pull off than the other problem. Maduro said you can have the fucking oil.
Yeah. Well, that's been the other issue. Is every time they come up and they like put something out there, he's conceded, and then Rubio pulls back and it's like, well, you can't trust that he's actually gonna like let you keep it. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what? And that's because that's all Rubio wants is boots on the ground, or at least special operations pushing into a regime change. Like, he's not going to settle for anything less until this is halted by Congress. Or
I think they want permanent presence.
oh yeah, no,
Like
absolutely. I mean, they even said they did. They said oil companies will have a 100 presence in Venezuela already. So, which that's to me, that's a century-long war, century-long occupation in a foreign country. I don't know.
are you the funny guy on the shorts, Jordan?
Am I?
Yeah.
I might be. I don't know.
It's probably not a
Look
question
more
for me.
familiar now.
Uh,
Robert's
say
funny, but
say something funny,
only in
Jordan.
person. Something funny. I don't know. Somebody in the comments really liked. I called Peter Hegseth Peter Jello Shot Eater in one of my recent videos. Today's video, and they seem to appreciate that one. I've
Well,
been
I'll tell you something interesting. I was. This has nothing to do with anything, by the way. I just want you to know that this. I was. We had to buy some crayons for the kids the other day, and I was thinking about this is a true story. Do you remember those big boxes of crayons when you were a kid that like the rich kids
yeah,
had?
yeah, they're like 100 packs or whatever.
128. Yeah, with the sharpener on the back.
128. Uh huh.
And I was thinking about how I used to want those. I wanted the big box of crayons, but I was not a big boxer kid. And so, anyway, I found it very interesting. And so I wrote a thing about it. And I put it on. I was like, this is kind of dumb, but I'm going to put it on Substack. And so I put it on Substack. It's the most popular thing I've ever fucking put on Substack. My shit blew up today over a thing about crayons. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna record. I
I'm
had a
gonna
bunch of
read it
requests
now.
to record it. I'll record it later and post it, but
Oh,
it's
you're
pretty
actually gonna
funny.
like do his video
Yeah. It's not political at all. It's about want and need
about
and
crayons.
big crayons. But
Oh.
I posted
Is it
to
still
you.
serious? There's still some deeper meaning to it?
I'm not over here just writing bullshit. Yeah, there's some deeper meaning to it. Uh but it's anyways, I sent it to a couple of friends and I was like, hey, can you tell me if this like I don't know what to do with this. Like I don't know if it uh because it kind of dances around the moral of the story because I didn't really know how to land it. And I said, "Hey, read this," and they're like, "Oh my, this is like beautiful." I was like, "Okay, I guess it. Like, I'll just post it. It's fine." Anyway, it's just really funny that it's thousands of restacks on Substack today. It's crazy. Anyway, that's it. That's the whole thing on that. It just popped up on my screen. That's why I said that. I had to turn the notification off.
That's funny though.
64 was the biggest box. Defiant
Damn.
Charade. That was a long time ago. They came up with a bunch of more
Yeah.
crayon names after that. All right, back to politics and war crimes.
I mean, it doesn't have to be politics. You know, it could be Planet of the Apes too.
I'm not showing anybody that. Do y'all want to see? Look, I have this very expensive movie quality. It's a Bigfoot mask, is what it is. Hang on, I'll show them. It's fine.
That's Planet of the Apes. That's a Planet of the Apes mask.
No, it. Well, the guy that sold it to me said it was a um a Bigfoot mask. It looks like Harry and the Hendersons, like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. Should I put it on or just show it to him?
You should put it on. You know, it was kind of a weird thing, like seeing that face with your voice coming out of it. I don't know. Tell me that's not Planet of the Apes. People in the comments here, like that is such a Planet of the Apes mask.
I don't know. I mean, it is Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. Thank you very much. This is high quality.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
All right.
Too bad you broke the jaw piece. You know.
It used to move and have a broken tooth. The
What
big
were you
jerky.
doing with it that you broke so much of this mask?
Well, the easy answer is inside of it, right? Like it's got like this stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't like doing anything. I was moving it around, and the hinge over here broke, and I had to try to rebuild it. I need to send it to somebody who knows what they're doing. It's it's just
Like
a thing that I
this is it.
bought. It's not like I'm a professional Bigfoot. Uh, it is super high quality. I won't tell you how much it costs because that's how much was it? No, no chance. I will not divulge how much I spent on such a thing. I've had it for a long time. Uh,
Oh
uh,
my
what is that? What did you do to that dog?
No, there's my bud's coming over to pick up an easel heater. You know, Minnesota problems. It's fuck cold out. He's living in a camper, and uh,
It
you
was
know
a
the
little.
dogs are.
It was a little
Huh?
over $1,000. It's fine.
A little over, a little, a little.
Uh, it's
Oh man, what is the dumbest thing you've ever bought? What's going on, babe?
A whole lot. Living that dream.
Yeah, so I'm alive. Yeah, you're cool. If you want to grab it, it's a fish house underneath the kind of like underneath the sinks. One of those soup style ones. You can go on there and grab it. Then you can come back in and out. All right, fucking came a day's peace. The wife goes to work here, and I think I'm gonna have a day all by myself. And the phone doesn't stop ringing, and people don't stop showing the fuck up.
uh, yeah. So sound surgeon. There's it was fairly expensive. It was I broke the hinge. It was in it originally, and the guy I bought it from, I bought it at a. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I had to rebuild the thing with what I had, and I should have done. I should have sent it off and had it professionally redone. Anyway, I just got it back where it would stay, and I should have. I'll send it somewhere one day and have the hydraulics and stuff put back on it. Larry and the Hendersons. Damn, Billy. Jesus. It's harsh. Fucking man, your fans are they don't pull any punches.
No. I mean, you see my content. It takes a certain type of person to like the shit I say. So,
I'm thinking about unfollowing you. I don't want to be
man, that's
associated.
harsh.
Uh,
Man, have you? How have your trolls been lately?
I don't really get many trolls, to be honest. I get a.
You
I
also
mean,
don't read. You don't read your comments and shit though either, do you?
I mean,
Or
I
you kind
read
of
the.
read
I
them.
read. I go through the like the first day of comments, but I mean, it gets.
Overwhelming, yeah.
If I open TikTok and it's like 3,500 comments, I'm not going. I'm not doing that. It's too many. Um, I don't know. Are you getting a lot of trolls lately?
On like Facebook, it's been pretty bad lately.
See, I don't even look at Facebook. I
Yeah.
do occasionally. Somebody will send me something like Tom Cotton said something or whatever. Which, if you're not following Tom Cotton on Facebook, you don't have to follow him to get his post. But if you, the comment sections of Tom Cotton's Facebook posts are hilarious. It's
I say the same about Pete Stauber because he's my congressman, and yeah, it's been pretty rough in his comment section for him too. I love it. I contribute on a regular basis to his comment section.
I do. The only thing I ever do on Facebook is I will either repost something that Hallie Schaffner posted, or I will just go to war in Tom Cotton's comment section. But nobody posts anything positive about him anymore. It's quite literally just people shitting on him.
This should be a Hallie Schaffner campaign ad. It should just be like, by the way, everybody in the comments, Hallie Schaffner is running for Senate in Arkansas. I did a video that you should have seen, if you're an actual fan. But like,
I guess
um, yeah, Hallie Schaffner is running for Congress or running for Senate against Tom Cotton, and I think that should be just in her one of her campaign ads should just be Tom Cotton's Facebook section, like comment section.
what's funny is it's like it'll say like Schaffner for Senate. Can't wait to vote for Hallie. Like shit, like it's just constant. It's hilarious. You want to see my bookshelf? This guy.
Yeah, I want to see your bookshelf.
All right, but you have to
Yeah, that's
excuse all the
hold on.
stuff going on the floor. Um,
Different,
this is who
different
am I
wall.
talking to here? This is
Uh,
so essentially it's just like a bunch. I'm terrible at this. This is awful. Uh, it's
in the garage
I guess I
tomorrow,
could flip
there
it.
grab one of those
There
and
we go.
the right muffler for it because this is not the right muffler for it. I can put it back out there, but
It's a lot of this stuff. And then here's these are my, oh shit, don't look at my address. Uh, these are my,
don't
I
worry about
did,
it. Nobody's going to Arkansas, man.
uh, I will tell you, if you're going to subscribe to some publications, I recommend, I get Cream. It's a music magazine. The Economist, and I guess, I don't know, I do Oxford American, um, and the New Yorker and the Atlantic and stuff. The Atlantic's kind of going downhill. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Atlantic. Here's some more books. Most
The
of
Economist is really the only conservative leaning magazine or like publication out there. I think that um is still worth reading.
the Economist seems conservative
I
leaning
used
because
to
it's a financial magazine. It's
right.
I would say that the Economist is it's very factual. Like you're not gonna they're economists. They all sound like conservatives. I'm probably the only economist you're gonna meet that's like super progressive, like power to the people kind of thing. And the bitter y'all should all be subscribing to the Bitter Southerner if you want like just like a really
I've never
great
even heard of that.
periodical. It's beautiful. Look at this. This is the most recent issue, but like look at it. Like
Is
it's
it monthly
huge.
or?
It's they do 3 a year, but it's just
Yeah.
it's nonfiction, it's fiction, it's art, entertainment, politics. It's beautiful.
So it's like Playboy.
Uh, huh?
So it's like Playboy.
Yeah, but classier. Uh,
Classier.
so this is Madison's notes on the federal convention. Everybody should pick one up a copy of this if you're real nerdy. I read a lot of Locke. Um, Vonnegut's one of my favorite writers, and then I have these like
You see,
uh,
I'm a little disappointed that you have books in a cupboard. Like you're an author, man, a writer. You make very clear that you're a writer, and you don't have like a fancy bookshelf. Even
I
I've got, it's not a super fancy bookshelf, but even I've got like
this is
a
gonna be the funniest thing you've ever heard. This is
bookshelf.
just the shit I'm working on that I need access to quickly. I have a bookshelf in a fucking reading room slash study. Yes.
All right. Well, I want to see your bookshelf in your reading room. Does it have any leather bound books? Does it smell of mahogany? You know.
Yeah. I just got the whole section of Page Smith's uh so Page Smith is a historian who wrote A People's History as a volume 1 through 8 collection before Zen wrote A People's History of the United States. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just got that full collection. So I'm pretty excited about that. Um anyway, I'm doing that philosophy of freedom thing. So like all of this is stuff I'm using to work on with that. And sometimes by the time it gets in here, it just is in here for a while until I need it for something else. Pick up Pedagogy of the Oppressed. It's fucking fantastic. Um this is the You need one of these. I'm just talking to the chat. Chat, you need one of these. Um if you want to understand the other side of
Federalism.
if you understand the argument against it, like the governor of Kentucky 1781 said no man should have more than he can make use of. And so that was the big argument against.
Sounds like communism.
I mean, let's not talk about communism. Like I have a whole thing. Uh, but
I would love to hear your whole.
I think communism. I think that Marx started out with the capital. Like 1 and 2 were good. 3 got a little off. I think the Capital Volume 1 is an incredible critique on capitalism and like the mercantilism evolution of it. The manifesto is a vanity project. It's ideological and it doesn't work. But it works in like groups of like 200. It doesn't work. Everybody has to love everybody for communism to work. Anyway,
Yeah. I mean, you have to be in a commune for communism to work.
you need this book, Balin's The Ideological Origins of the American Revolution. It's amazing. And then also pick up A Vindication of the Rights of Women. That's Wollstonecraft. Anyway, The Creation of the American Republic's really good. If you're just wanting, I don't know. Nobody needs a copy of the articles. They're trash, but I mean, you should know what they are. Um, Notes are good. Why am I doing this? Did somebody ask for this?
Yeah, I mean, somebody did, and then you get on a roll and you just don't stop for a while.
Uh, everybody should have this book. It's in 2 volumes. This is Emma Goldman's Living My Life. Uh, she's the original feminist, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I love her. She's fantastic. Uh, that that's the tour of my
The
bookshelf
books behind you.
that one person asked for, and I spent 30 minutes on.
uh, I'm actually so back to economists sounding conservative. This is something that I've never understood because conservative policies are not good financial policies and never have been. So why would
Well, that's not
conservative or
necessarily
economic?
true.
I
It
mean,
depends on
it
who they're good
is.
for. It depends on who they're good for.
Well, it's fair.
Uh,
Yeah, it's fair.
Economics would break into two categories. You'd have like a top line business economist who would look at, uh, oh, all of those comments just caught up. I was like, oh, nobody had anything to say about that. Anyway, so
No, there was a bunch of.
if you take like top line economics, that would be people that are working for a company that are trying to dump capital into uh, they're trying to take capital off without it filtering to the bottom line, so that way it doesn't go through workers and labor and cost of goods
Mhm.
and all that stuff. And those people have gotten very good at like strip mining companies and things like that. Those are still economists. I mean,
Mhm.
that's
That's
um
fair.
a lot of times economists seem conservative because they're spreadsheet people. And so when
Yeah.
we look at factors that we look at factors that affect the economy, we look at them from a statistical standpoint instead of as in human terms. Not because we don't
Hmm.
think of those as human beings, but because when you're doing analysis, you're just trying to look at the financial repercussions of things or like how things are going to affect. And so if I'm looking at beef prices in Argentina, or if I'm looking at the Brazilian real market of something, there are a lot of factors in there that affect that margin shift. And so if I'm trying to see how is how is immigration policy in the United States going to affect that, and then how is that going to arc back to the beef market?
Hmm.
Um, that would be I'm going to look at things from, okay, well, X number of people are going to be deported. This is going to cause X number of uh, ag jobs to be lost, X number of persons that would typically be in an ag market. That's going to affect the economy of those cities. So I'm going to have fewer people uh, in those areas buying things, right? So that's going to affect
Hmm.
population density in certain areas, especially rural areas where we would have like an influx of migrant workforce during certain times of the year. Now we're going
Yep.
to lose that, so that's going to affect demand. Okay, so I'm looking at all that, but all that's going on paper is people, and I'm just talking about it in terms of demand, population density, and stuff. I've removed the I've removed the humanity out of it, just in the terms that I'm talking about it in, and so you
Right.
flatten it and it starts to make you sound like a conservative analyst because you have removed humanity from it. And so, and that's just a very small example of like, but it's
Hmm.
not that this one gets me in trouble sometimes. But let's talk about Milton Friedman then for a second. Uh, the the architect of trickle down economics. If you read Friedman, it all sounds good on paper, but every economic theory sounds good on paper. It's when
Right.
it's when it gets to the point of very smart, very intelligent people with ill intentions get a hold of a strategy, and then they're like, oh, well, yeah. Let's use this trickle down thing, right? Let's get Friedman to be in charge. And then if Friedman's policy works the way he says it will, we'll just capture the money at the top when it'll be
Hmm.
the new liberalist society. And so that's, I don't think his his idea is not bad. It just got
I mean, it wasn't really his
bastardized.
idea though.
No, I mean it was just a
Like
return to a
we
liberalist
knew it because
society.
it was horse and sparrow economics just
Sure.
rebranded. That's all it was. And that
Well,
was, a century prior that they tried that and crashed the economy. And, that's arguably what led us into the Great Depression.
well,
That's part of
so
it.
so Friedman's Chicago model is what it's called. Was it changed some things that were intended to guardrail and make sure that the trickle down occurred, right? Because in
Mhm.
his mind, it was the theory was sound, right? The execution was shit. And then David, his son, tries to
Well,
make the same
the
argument in
theory
Machinery of Freedom, but
the theory is the same theory as to why communism doesn't work, right? Like you got to expect the altruism of people to shine through,
100%.
um, and people aren't like that. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it
No
seems like
evildoers are out fucking drafting economic policy. They're not. I mean, what happens is they just co-opt and um, destroy uh, um, whatever is out there, like um, whatever whatever's been invented by people that are trying to make a better economy that works top to bottom. They just fucking jump in there
Mhm.
and authoritize it. That's what happened with Chinese Maoism. I mean, it's socialized or it's authoritized socialism. Stalinism is
Right.
authoritized communism. It's not. Uh, Shitty people are what fucking affected. I mean, if
Right.
Madison said if all men were angels, there'd be no need for government, and he's right.
It's
I mean, you
true.
wouldn't need anything if everybody had everybody's best interest in mind. Everything would
But
work.
the and this is where it's like trickle down works. It just has to be forced, right? And that's what like the high corporate tax rates of the 50s, 60s, and 70s were about. Um, you have to force them to reinvest down the line by being like, if you don't, we're just going to tax your money and take it from you. Otherwise, you need to reinvest this in new equipment, updating, giving raises to your employees, and that's how so like trickle down in theory works, but it's the opposite of how it was built to work, and we were doing it through the most prosperous time in our nation's history.
It's also important to remember that their economists typically respond to any sort of like um, negative effects on the economy. So while
Mm-hmm.
we can look back and see that, okay, well, post Great Deal, when we had the highest tax revenue, like the highest tax rates and stuff, that we were doing the best, but there were still negatives about it. So you've got Friedman coming out of that and going, well, how do we fix some of these problems
So
we have?
what were the negatives, and not like social negatives? Obviously, we still had segregation. A lot of these systems were structured with redlining and things to keep keep it so it was only dudes who look like us who were being prosperous. But what was the negative economic side of that, taking out that social aspect of systematic racism,
Uh,
and that Friedman didn't address anyway? So like that would be irrelevant.
no, I mean it was more about how corporate structure could change. It wasn't an effective society. It's all corporate economics. They just applied it to a larger model. That's Milton Friedman wasn't a fucking renaissance man. He didn't fucking reinvent anything. He just had a model and he taught economics. I mean, he's not stupid. Like he understands how the charts and numbers work. He just had this idea for how to he thought that he could explode wealth by deregulating industry and removing tax breaks and everybody would get rich. Like that was the idea, is that instead of the government having all this money, corporations and people would have all this money. That was the idea. And it it just doesn't work. It sounds
Right.
good.
Well,
It
because
just doesn't work.
the government doesn't have all of that money, right? The government has a budget it has to spend, and it does that. So like the government's already putting that money back into people, whether that's infrastructure, whether that's social services.
A lot of it was around military industrial complex, the amount of money we were spending on wars and stuff like that. It wasn't, it was, if we have a problem with the money that government's spending, let's reduce the amount of money they have to spend, kind of thing. Only it didn't work that way. I lost you.
Sorry, just give me 1 second. My buddy finally found stuff he was digging for. I was just saying goodbye. I'll be back with you.
Okay. Gotcha. Jordan got a haircut. I need one.
Thanks. Later. Sorry about that. All right, I'm back.
Hello.
So yeah. So Friedman, where do we leave off here?
Yeah. You there?
You on your hoe over there?
Hang on. I'm answering questions about. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. I'm back.
No, my wife does not cut my hair for me. I still go pay, the old ladies at the local barber shop to do it. Although I'm getting I'm getting pretty close to just buying myself a set of clippers and doing it at home here, because I ain't got much left to cut anymore.
Yeah, you're getting close to getting a discount at the barber shop. Uh, I I Friedman. It's like I said. I hate to go back. The Heritage Foundation's been at work for since what, like
So when
77?
you say there's no evil economist, there's economists that work at the Heritage Foundation, right?
No. I mean, there's evil economists. I mean, there's nobody drafting, like, shaping economic theory that has, like, socialism isn't inherently bad, right? You can make it bad if you with bad, the theory behind it is good. The theory behind communism is mostly good, uh, because it's for the betterment of society as a whole. If you have somebody that's shaping, like, top line economists, like the ones that work in the White House, Peter Navarro is well, one, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, but two, his his policies are designed to dump money into a top line account. So that's what tariffs do. Like, it's a tax on the consumer essentially, or the business is bringing it, but no business is not going to pass that cost on to the consumer. And so, yeah, they may have
Right.
raised $1 trillion. They didn't. I think they raised like $190 billion in tariff money, or said they did. But I mean, that's just consumer money. Like, you and I just paid it, and now they have
Right.
$190 billion that is uh that that isn't allocated. Like, it's just sitting there in an account. And yes, they technically can't spend it until it's allocated. But don't tell, if you think for a sec that money hasn't been. That's crazy. Of course, that doesn't exist anymore, because they're going to have to pay these companies back that took it. So we're never going to see any of that, right? The companies that had to,
Mm-hmm.
and they already didn't pay it. They already charged it down the line. So what happened? We had a
Right.
bunch
Yeah. I
of
mean,
tariffs. They made their money. Now they're going to get $190 billion back.
I don't. I don't understand how, because again, tariffs are super old economic policy that has not worked before. Is it just? Can I help you? Is it just the American consumer is this, or the American populace is this uneducated that they don't understand the fact that this is a cyclical problem that we've done economically over and over and over again and moved past it, and then we found systems that were more functional, and then we're moving back to the systems that made us create the more functional systems in the first place. I just don't understand how anybody can support tariffs in 2025. It's the most ridiculous thing on the planet.
Well, because they don't understand them. And look, they're not listening to people like you and I. They're listening to people that tell them that tariffs are good policy. Look, the fact that, well, one, Navarro isn't really an economist, and the person he used to support his claims is a person that he made up, which I think is hilarious. Like it's a fake person. Did you know that?
I did not.
Peter Navarro is the chief economic advisor to the White House, right?
Mm-hmm.
Peter Navarro self-published some books on Amazon. Peter Navarro cites an economist in all of his books named Ron Vara, which is an anagram of Peter Navarro.
So he cites himself.
Yeah, the person doesn't exist, and people know this. It's not even like this isn't groundbreaking news. Like people know this. People knew this in the first Trump administration, and he got hired again.
I mean, it makes sense that he got hired again, considering who they hire in this administration.
Nobody's mad about it. Like you would think that, like it's so far beyond. Like I guess it's not fraud. I mean, he just lied about quotes
That's
that a
kind of
person
fraud.
made.
I mean, it might not be legal fraud, but it's still fraud. He's
Yeah,
being a fraud.
he made up a whole person and then gave him credentials and everything. And yeah, now he's the economic advisor. And tariffs are like his deal. Like he thinks tariffs will reshape the global economy.
I mean, it will reshape the global economy, just not in any way that's good.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean,
They are
the funny thing to me is,
reshaping the global economy.
so we've spent years and years trying to dismantle China, and and China was probably on the verge of being like in a 10-year down cycle, like where it was going to. They were Western dependent, like the whole thing, and then you get into a trade war with them, and now they're forced to finish Belt and Road. They're forced to figure out new supply chains, and you just reinvigorated their entire economy. Like the thing that you were scared of. I don't have a problem with China. China is just interested in their own interests, right? They want to be the
Right.
economic powerhouse in their sector of the world, but who wouldn't? Like, you can't fault them for it. I don't think they have any military or empirical aspirations, but we are a consumer nation. We're going to be in a trade deficit to everybody we deal with. Like, it's just going to happen, right? It's inevitable. We get that back typically in reinvestment or like bond purchases and things like that. We get the money back. So to go to a trade war to affect a deficit, which is going to exist because you are a consumer nation, is fucking absurd.
Well, and also because we have 330 million people and China has 1 billion people. Like, they have more people to consume stuff that we make, right? Like, or to consume in general. But they also have more people to make shit that's cheap. Although we're really not trading that much with China on the cheap side anymore either, because their wages are starting to catch up where it's not becoming economical.
Yeah. I wish that there was more of it that made sense, and it wasn't just a bunch of people with unearned confidence in a room fucking making decisions on behalf of the wealthiest nation that's ever
All of
existed.
us. Yeah. Well, it's the weird thing too is to try to fight over a trade deficit and we end up the one trade surplus we had, which was agricultural exports to China, is the one thing we fucked up.
Yeah, we have fucked up every. If from an economic standpoint, the thing that makes the most sense is to reinvest in like Mexico, South America, Central America. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to reduce costs, invest in labor down there, invest in industry down there.
Which companies were already doing. I mean, nearshoring is what they were
Yeah,
calling it, and that was already because again, Chinese wages are catching up. They're no longer the third world country we still view them
yeah.
as here in the United States. You know, I mean, they're a world power at this point. I mean, we joke about their military, and their military technology is still a bit of a joke, but like as far as like they're a world economic power, they are a world policy power. You know, they're and we just kind of poo pooed that for decades now, and
Well,
now and yeah,
let's
and
be,
then
if we're being honest with ourselves, there is only the United States is not really under any threat of. You might have an attack or two because people hate us because of our policy, but you could really counteract that with better policy. But
mm,
like China doesn't have any interest in being in
attacking us
attacking the United
militarily.
States because you
No,
cannot control that much land there. Like you just can't.
no.
The British Empire showed very clearly that you cannot rule the world like that. Like there will be uprisings. It's too much to do.
Well, to be fair, the British Empire did rule the world like that for a very long time.
No, no, I just meant like in a modern society, like in
Oh,
modernity.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. When the British
Mm,
Empire was in its hate it absolutely, but I meant like as we've gotten into this global economy where we are more connected and whatever, like it's just not the same. It doesn't matter like that anymore. You're not trying to control trade routes and shit. Like you have access to things.
mhm,
Um, the idea of global dominance has shifted, right? Like
mhm.
there's so really economic strength is the thing that matters anymore. That's what people. I mean, that's what you would want. So there's no reason that the United States, Mexico, Canada uh, doesn't have better labor border like cross border labor policies where we have um, you can come here and work, like go back where we can share labor and kind of build up
Like with
that
Canada and
economy.
Mexico, basically, is what
Yeah,
you're talking
that
about. Kind of like what Europe's done, where they have the European Union, where it's like traveling between states to
I don't think
work
you would
and
have to
whatnot.
be that open as they are in Europe because the nation the countries are so much smaller. I think it works better. But something like that where
Hmm.
you can travel, go do the things where you're reinvesting in your neighbors. But I think across all three nations, I mean, it would just be a beneficial way to do things. I don't. Gosh, I mean,
Well,
this isn't even new ideas. I mean, Reagan talked about this. Bush Senior
yeah.
talked about it.
And I mean, the point we've got proof is in the pudding. Like, we don't have any issues to speak of with our northern neighbor in Canada because they are a peer nation economically
Mhm.
to us, and we destabilized Mexico and Central and South America so much that that's why they're not a peer on our level. And if we reinvested in those countries and helped lift them up, all of these problems with immigration, with heavy quotation marks, problems with immigration, with drugs coming up through there and everything like that, would essentially vanish, right? Because we'd be taking away again the demand for those types of problems. It all goes back to economics in that sense too. They have a demand for a better life because we've made their country so poor and unstable. So they're coming here where there's that supply, and then obviously with the drug issues, which has more to do with our prohibition of drugs in the first place and how we've handled drug policy over the past 50 years. But like a few policy shifts and some reinvestment south of the border, and all of these problems could be solved. And to the contrary, all the ICE agents in the world and border protection in the world isn't going to solve any of these problems, right? Like they're still going to exist as long as the demand is there that we've created.
I think all of it is theatrical. Like so much of what we create problems to fix so that we have something to talk about. A lot of times, it's
Mm-hmm.
we it just pardoned the former Honduran president who was trafficking drugs uh,
Mm-hmm.
in the same day as we are investigating attacks on drug trafficking boats in the Caribbean Sea. It's we If you wanted to shut down the Sinaloan cartel, you could shut down the Sinaloan cartel, but there's money involved somewhere for somebody, and so they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we
Well, and even if
know
they did
for
shut down the cartel, removing the organization doesn't remove the problem. It doesn't remove the
yeah,
demand, and therefore somebody else, it just creates a vacuum that'll be filled by somebody else. I mean, how many cartels have we destroyed? Obviously, taking down El Chapo or whatever has not solved the drug trade problem.
no, it's because they're benched. They know what they're doing.
Mm,
It's The only way you combat cartels like that is to legalize the shit.
mhm.
I mean, if you're gonna be honest,
Yeah,
you create an environment where people can do drugs, and I don't want to say safely, like there's a safe way to use illicit drugs, but um,
right.
where it's either like they do in like Sweden, and where you can go and it's under hospital
Mhm.
supervision or whatever, and it's mostly for addicts and stuff that are coming off. But if you provided, I don't know,
I mean,
if it's
I think
legal,
legal
you
and
cut those
regulated.
people out and you can regulate the
Yeah.
industry. It's You do away with the need for someone to have a cartel where they're slinging cocaine and heroin through
Hmm.
borders.
We have the model. I mean, with prohibition, which is all this is modern prohibition. Um, but we outlawed alcohol, and there's still a demand for alcohol because people like drinking, and so organized crime took that over. You had a more dangerous product. You had gangs and mobs that were profiting off of it and committing all kinds of violent crime to maintain their stranglehold over their territories and things like that. You had smuggling going in across the border, both north and south, and then they legalized it again, and those problems go away. I mean, obviously, people still drink. There's still people who have alcohol problems. That's never going to go away. You can't fix that because it's people have abused substances since there's been people. I mean, fuck, you get rotten apples out in the pasture, and a squirrel will go get itself drunk, on purpose. Like it's human nature. So that's just it. You legalize it and you regulate it, and then you make the punishment for violating that not worth the the other avenue, which is doing it legally. If it's easier and more cost effective, and the consequences aren't as bad to do it legally as it is to do it illegally, then the problem's gone. Then there's no Central and South American drug cartels because they've got no market to sell it to, and that money stays here in the United States, right? I mean, America first. If we're doing that, legalize drugs.
Uh yeah, I mean, people are gonna look, and I think that like Purdue Pharmaceuticals ought to. I mean, they should have to divest their interest and pay a bunch of money. Like they intentionally got people hooked on opioids and created a very
Right.
bad epidemic. But there should be But if we're being honest with ourselves, the way these Republican senators right now talk about fentanyl coming into the United States,
Mhm.
the number of deaths from the intentional addiction of our young people and our citizens from a United States owned pharmaceutical company.
Mhm.
So if they would have put that kind of effort into Purdue Pharmaceuticals when they knew it years ago, instead of acting
Mhm.
like fentanyl coming ashore all of a sudden is the biggest goddamn deal that ever happened. And it is a big deal. I don't
Well,
mean
like fucking JD Vance with his hillbilly elegy bullshit, talking about his mom's addiction problems when she was stealing, drugs from the hospital she worked at, and then he blames it on foreign fentanyl. Like this has been their playbook. In fact, somebody in the comments is like, "How does creating a problem end in re-election?" And I mean, that's really because people don't pay close enough attention to understand how these problems occur and what the solutions are. And if you can create a problem and then run on solving that problem, or blame the other people for that problem, that's how it ends in re-election, I would say.
most people don't pay attention enough to know all of the ins and outs, unfortunately. I mean, you and I do because this is where we spend a lot of time in this space. But I think if you took your average person who works 8 to 10 hours a day, has kids and shit to do when they get home, they're not living in a news cycle like we are. Um,
No.
um,
Well, and I do
and
think that gets to be the issue with us who are like chronically online, and even the people who follow us, because these people obviously are interested in the going ons of geopolitics and economics and whatnot. And it gets hard for us to remember that so many people are not interested at all, except for what specifically affects them. And even then, they're not that interested to learn how it specifically affects them. They just want somebody to give them a bumper sticker answer on how it'll be solved. And that is bad because then you can create a problem and then give them a very black and white bumper sticker answer on how to fix that problem. And I'm going to do that by deporting the immigrants who are taking your jobs and houses and shit, and leave out all the gray area. People hate gray area. That's that everything's gray. We live in a very gray world.
I was talking to someone yesterday about, and they asked me, like, why do people not pay? Like, why do people not understand? It's like, why do they not pay attention? I was like, it's kind of like the reason why you don't give a shit how the Razorbacks are doing this year. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't interest you and it doesn't affect your life, you don't think. And while politics affects everybody's lives, it's hard to get people to understand how something that's happening now is going to affect them 6 months from now or whatever. And like,
Right.
it's when they go watch Fox News or whatever news outlet they go to, and they explain it away real quick, and they trust those people more than they trust me or you because me and you are just people that live beside them. It's like, um,
Mm-hmm.
that's that's just the cycle we live in, and until you can get people to start connecting the dots, it's it's unfortunately an inevitability. If we can get a few more people to see it, and maybe we can, and I think people are. I do think the Republican or the MAGA base is fracturing. I mean, Nancy Mace is probably going to
Oh,
resign. I think Don
MTG
Bacon.
already resigned. Yeah.
I think Don Bacon will resign. I think there's three in Texas that are probably going to go, and then there's a handful that are going to run for Senate. If this Pete Hegseth thing, and it depends on the optics of that getting through the year. I think I think they're just putting too much shit for people to hold on to anymore. Like, and as soon as that voter base
Yeah.
dissipates, people that want to run for Senate are going to distance themselves by going ahead and resigning, so that they can reshape the new Republican Party, whatever the fuck they're going to call it,
Mm-hmm.
for their Senate run in 26 or 27. Like, it's falling apart. I think it'll atomize after the midterms. If I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, and I
It's
do think like, especially if, and I don't want to give Democrats too much credit because they managed to fuck everything up. But if they can keep up with the Epstein stuff, because that's coming out now this month supposedly, and if it doesn't, that's fine too. That's more pressure that they can continue to put on it. They can keep up with that keep the narrative held on that, and if they can keep up with this Pete Hegseth thing, I think if they can put enough screws to Pete Hegseth to at least get him removed from his position for something serious, that's going to start the alarm bells for everybody who's just slightly too close to this administration and doesn't want to face consequences, and have them start trying to distance themselves as well.
Well, like, the best thing they would ever the best thing they could do is to distance themselves. I think you're going to see like 4 or 5 different factions of the Republican Party. Like I think Tucker Carlson's going to be pretty important in whatever's left of the Republican Party. You have that MTG Thomas
Why do
Massey
you think
thing.
Tucker Carlson?
He holds a bunch of. I mean, he's got a lot of support. He has a lot of. I don't think he's like politician wise. I just meant like his ideology.
Right. I
Um,
mean, is he still even relevant? I felt like ever
he
since he
is.
got
He
fired
is.
from Fox, and he's like,
He is on the right. He's big time on the right.
huh.
Um, so you'll have that. You'll have like that Thomas Massey MTG. I would kind of consider that like the middle. Then that like
Yeah.
neocon Ted Cruz thing, very pro-Israel. Um, uh, those guys. Those guys still have a bunch of backing money wise and stuff. And then you'll have a little bit of MAGA still, like JD Vance, that group, like they'll still exist in some small faction. And it'll just kind of be an infight in there for a few years until they solidify again.
I got so a comment. I think I've got a mod in here who's kind of helping take care of that. But somebody, they deleted the comment, but Zinc Skibbity said such pseudo intellectual sophism, derp to derp to derp, and he spelled it SUDO space intellectual, and I love that so much.
He spelled pseudo intellectual wrong.
SUDO space intellectual.
Yeah, thanks.
This is why we call them stupid.
Nothing makes me
This
happier than someone to call me stupid and then misspell stupid.
No, man, I'm actually gonna. I gotta screen.
You should. We should make a T-shirt with that. Can I steal
We
that picture and
should.
just put it on a T-shirt?
Yeah, absolutely. I will. I will send it to you because that is
Pseudo intellectual.
genuinely one of my favorite things I've ever seen. You also gotta wonder, like they've got to be in the comments here like that for themselves because do they think like if you're gonna come in and say something like that, do they really think that that's gonna affect us, like hurt our feelings? Especially like the libtard thing. Like they always come off with the libtard thing. It's got to just be for them at this
Well,
point. Like it's that joke that their really immature friends from middle school thought was really cool, so they say it to everything. It's like the 6-7 thing that the kids are doing, right?
I don't
Makes
understand
no sense. Nobody else thinks it's funny.
the uh, the soy boy thing and the like all of that, all
All
of
the
the
gay jokes,
things.
like using gay as an insult or trans as an insult all the time.
Um, it really kind of shows the level of. I mean, people can disagree. Like you can disagree with me. That's fine. Like I don't have a problem with people disagreeing
Right.
with me. I mean, and I will say that like Jordan and I disagree about certain things. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
all of politics is a fucking guess. Like there's no right answer on any of this shit. You just try to get as close as you can. So it the idea that thinking that people should be treated fairly or like hey you should have more money and like free healthcare, like you're a bitch, you think corporations should make less money, what a pussy. Like okay, I could bench press more than you, all right, cool.
Cool.
uh it's it's just so weird, such a weird flex. uh I bet you're gay. You think people ought not die
Yeah,
in
I
the
know.
street. Okay.
I always love too because I'm in Minnesota, so like the tampon Tim jokes because they don't understand, which is annoying in and of itself because he never passed any legislation that mandated putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. Like it was just tampons have to be available, or like feminine hygiene products have to be available to all students. Is all the law said. However, the
Mhm.
school plans to implement that. If they put it, in a hallway out in a public area, if they put them in both bathrooms, that's up to the schools. And that was legislatively passed. The governor had nothing to do with it aside from signing it into law. But they go with the tampon thing. They're like, "Oh, I bet you use tampons," and I'm like, for what, dude? To clean my 12 gauge? Like, what the fuck am I going to use a tampon for?
By the
like,
way,
how is this an insult?
excellent use of a tampon. If you don't
I was
have
thinking so,
if you
right?
don't have a patch, it's not bad.
Uh huh. Because you can squirt the solvent on there, and it'll expand inside the barrel. It's already got the string to tie on to pull it
Uh,
through.
and I will say this: they actually do make something that looks like a giant cotton swab that is very
Uh
tampon
huh.
esque. Anyway, uh, I the arguments that people come against about like there's some things on the USAID thing where they were studying the effects of something in mice, right? Like we're paying for this shit.
hmm
They're studying genetic mutations and I was
Oh,
like,
like
yeah, but
uh
that
huh.
genetic mutation led to what we used to treat lymphatic cancer. So like shut the
Right.
fuck up. Like you don't understand what's happening because you're a fucking
Yeah.
moron. So and yeah, we waste money. Don't get me wrong. Like absolutely we do.
hmm
But a lot of times we don't. And
Right. And it's never in the science sector that we waste money. It's always in like defense and ag and
and
like.
nobody wants to bitch about that. Um,
hmm
some poor scientist that is their life's work wrote a fucking grant proposal, right, about why we needed to study this, and they sent it
hmm
to the NIH, and the scientists
Yeah.
and doctors there read it and said,
hmm
"This is a good thing. We're going to submit
Yeah.
this for legislation," and then they funded that thing, not because the the mental gymnastics you have to do to think that all of these chains of command just fucking cakewalk these dollars into these programs blindly is because some guy with a fucking chainsaw and a Tesla dealership told you that it was bad. I just fucking hate it. Like I wish that we just had a little more um I don't mind people asking questions. I think people should ask questions, but ask questions in good faith and when you get an answer that satisfies the question, whether you like the answer or not,
Right.
just accept it. uh,
And sometimes you need to accept the fact that, when it comes to a topic, you're a fucking idiot who has no clue what they're talking about, and you need to trust that the people who have gotten themselves to a position of authority and education have the education credentials and the work credentials to say, like, hey, this is a good thing, and this is why, and here's all of the information you're too stupid to read, but it's available for you if you would like to be a little more educated. Go for it. It's transparently out there. Like you just need to trust them at that point, or you need to go get a fucking education so you can read that material. But like, you know,
I don't get involved in medical spaces, right? Like I don't have an opinion on medical
exactly.
things
hmm
because I don't know shit about it. No doctor, not even close to a
hmm
doctor for that matter. I have friends that are doctors and I'll ask their opinion. Like, hey Zach, what do you think about this? And he'll say, this is good or this is bad or whatever the fuck Zach says.
hmm
And I trust Zach because Zach's a doctor. He's like a real doctor.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes he'll say, I'm not real sure. Reach out to this person and I'll reach out to that person
hmm
and they'll give me an answer. And those people are good for that kind of thing. And so I would suggest to
Yeah.
everybody that if you have a doctor question, ask a fucking doctor. And if they tell you,
hmm
but
No, no,
if you're,
no. That dude on a podcast who sells supplements and charges you, $300 for life advice on a Zoom call is definitely more intelligent and knows more about the doctor and doctor stuff than. than Fauci or anybody else with a medical degree who spent a decade of their life in school to learn about these things.
I think some of my biggest complaint comes from the idea that people listen to podcasts or whatever about, oh, let's just say the Joe Rogan podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And rather than looking at that as a conversation amongst a group of guys, and yet maybe it raises some interesting questions for you. But then take those interesting questions and go find the answers to them somewhere where that is vetted or legitimate, and not just take whatever Joe fucking Rogan says.
Right. The other issue too is people are like, I'm just asking questions. It's like you're not though. You're looking for confirmation bias. A lot of times they'll like pose these questions and then they want there to be some conspiracy. And this partially comes back into that they want to be in an in club where they're special because these people are fucking losers, right? Who have nothing going on in their lives. And so if they can be in the in club, who knows like the secret conspiracy information about something, that makes them feel superior to everybody else. It makes them feel special. And so they're going to find whatever confirmation bias is, what they don't want you to know, so they can get that feeling of self-worth because they're worthless.
Well, what?
Sorry, that was harsh, but I just like
No, I agree with you. I'm
I'm
trying to
so
think.
sick of the conspiracy theory asshole.
I I just don't even know how you combat it anymore. If I'm being honest, I don't. There is
I mean, I think legislatively, and I know this somewhat runs afoul of freedom of speech, but I do think, I mean, freedom of speech is not unlimited, and I think that once you start sharing information from a place of authority that is not accurate and not in good faith, there should be some sort of regulation or repercussion for that. I mean, it's like, again, the whole you can't yell fire in a crowded theater type of thing. When it comes to medical misinformation, when it comes to climate misinformation, if you are actively peddling false information that is easily debunked and you cannot provide a citation or source for the information you're peddling to contradict that, I think that there should be some sort of, especially coming from a place of authority. I mean, I don't think that every citizen who's out there, like global warming's a hoax from big solar panel or whatever the fuck they think it is. Like, whatever, let Jim Bob do his shit. But like, if you have a platform and you're speaking on these things with some sort of authority, you should have to answer for that platform and that authority if you abuse it or misuse it to the detriment of people or society.
yeah, I don't know how you hold that accountability. I think maybe there should be some sort of verification process for people that could earn some sort of certification. But fuck, that should be at a goddamn degree. Like, it shouldn't be incumbent
Mm-hmm.
upon media companies to say that.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
understand
like,
freedom
and
of
I think,
speech, but I also think that there is um, like, there's nothing illegal about me saying that the sky is green or whatever. But if I tell you that, but it's the same thing like a company that is selling you this. Like, if I'm selling you this and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with caffeine, like, it is good for you.
mm-hmm,
It's like that, the harm done in that, like the same thing as cigarettes and whatever, should be,
mm-hmm,
we should treat some information the same way. And I do understand the slippery slope of
yeah.
uh of free speech. So I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think that there is, again, no right is unlimited. And I think the freedom of speech is limited. Again, people have been held accountable for lying about cigarettes are a great example. they spent years trying to convince people that cigarettes were healthy for you. And I think and they had doctors who were like, yeah, I recommend this cigarette, it's healthy for you. I think that there should be, again, if you're coming from a place of authority or you have a platform that can influence society as a whole or a mass group of people, you have a responsibility to use that appropriately. And if you're using that to peddle blatant misinformation, especially if you can prove that that information is false and you either knew it was false or you should have known it was false, you should be held accountable for that. I think that there should be fines. I think you should have your, like, Fox News, after they got sued for peddling false information, should not be allowed to have a platform anymore.
Well, I mean,
It shouldn't be a drop in the bucket fine, and they're allowed to continue on pretending to be a news organization.
well, the funny thing is they don't have a news license.
Right. But they're still allowed to cosplay as a news organization, and their argument is that, no person in there, no reasonable person would take them seriously. That's their argument in court. That's their legal argument about why they're allowed to continue operating. But clearly, people do take them seriously, and they're still allowed to call themselves news. Like, there should be a repercussion for that. That should be revoked. They should have their broadcasting license removed. The or the platforms, the media companies that host them should be fined for doing so. And fined indefinitely until it's removed. And these fines need to be bigger than, because the fine for the Dominion voting machine bullshit was a drop in the bucket for Fox News' global. Like, they made more money peddling all of that bullshit than the fine that they had to pay in that lawsuit, or the settlement they had to pay in that lawsuit, right? Like,
So,
yeah, it was a big number, but it wasn't that big.
do you think that removing the idea that corporations are people, so if you reverse Citizens United, and then you hold corporations liable for harm for misinformation, then you, like, corporations don't get free speech, people do.
Right.
um so that you can hold a company or a platform liable for harm for bad information.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be on board with that.
Yeah.
And then let them punish.
It would have to be the legislation for it would have to be ironclad, because, like, looking at the administration we have now, I could definitely see them weaponizing that against people who are providing factual information that they don't like. So it would have to be basically under like the parameters of like libel and slander. Like, you have to meet very specific metrics, standards to get that. But I think that, yeah, that's the way that it would need to be done.
We should workshop this with our senator friends. God, they should just let us. We should be a lot more involved.
Like, just put us in charge of shit. I think you should just go run the Republican Party.
I told Brenna that was my. That's what I was doing. Oh, you were there. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I was there.
Chat. I think that if I decided to be a Republican tomorrow, that inside of 6 months I could run the whole fucking party. I could reshape the whole goddamn thing.
Oh yeah.
Now I can't because I just said that live, but that's
it's all 40 people in the live. I'm sure that'll get leaked out. It's funny. Somebody in the comments earlier asked if either of us consider running for office, and I just we get that question all the time, and we've talked about this. In fact, we said if we had a dime, I think for every time we got that question, both of us could retire tomorrow.
I'll give you. My answer is always that I would rather be involved in strategy and shaping 25 votes in the right direction than I had just being offered one. And I know that you can be in office and still shape the opinions and like that, like the messaging of your colleagues and peers. But when you're on the strategy side and the consulting side, you just have a broader range. And sometimes I think the quiet work is, I'm better at that part than and I don't mean performative in a bad way. I don't, but
Hmm.
the public part. Uh, so I would, I don't know. This is the path that I've chosen. And it,
Yeah.
and the people that you don't see have as much effect as the people you do. So while people do tell me or ask you and I a lot to run, there's also people you want behind the scenes that you like, and
Hmm.
so let that happen too.
I think that that's where I'm at. I know that I have a talent for messaging, and communicating ideas to people. That's basically all I do on here, right? And I don't think that I have a talent for governing, for leadership on that kind of level. And I know that if I did go and run for something, 100% of my focus would be on my own campaign, my own election, my own job. Where now I have the ability to focus on Hallie Schaffer's campaign and Peggy Flanagan's campaign. And by doing that, I'm currying favor with those people. And therefore, when I say that, hey, this is something that's really important to my audience, I think you need to consider this. I hope that helps me have that kind of leverage to make those kinds of moves. And I think that allows me to operate in spaces where I wouldn't be allowed to operate as an elected official.
I I think that there are definite. I think that you definitely want people like you and I to have access to people in power. Full stop. I just think that's
Mhm. And I think
if
you
I
lose
were.
some of that access once you become an elected official, because now you a have the toxicity of being and here's the thing people need to understand too is that once you become an elected official, especially on a federal level like a congressman or a senator or something like that, you are going to have to make decisions on the policies you support or don't support that are going to make people upset, right? Like that are going to make your base upset, because government is about compromise, and we have bases, and you and I are both guilty of this, where we get frustrated because they did compromise when we think they shouldn't, or they didn't compromise when we think they should, and that makes you lose credibility with certain demographics, and I think that we don't have to make those decisions being in this place, and maintaining that credibility offers power leverage that you lose as an elected official, in my opinion.
I I go back to Rousseau a lot. When we talk about the general will or the social contract and how all that. If you've ever seen The West Wing, Jed Bartlett does this really good job of explaining how a milk tax hurt farmers, but it helped kids get milk.
Hmm.
And he said, "Yeah, I really fucked you over on that one talking to a farmer. But to me, it was more important that kids had access to milk than you made 2 cents more a gallon."
Yeah.
And I like that because it explains that's the social contract. Like, that's general will just in
Hmm.
one flat statement, because everybody's in the circle and the water's got to cover everybody, and it just covers some people differently at different times. And so there are times where a law or something will benefit you more. There are times it'll benefit me more, uh, because we are a huge, vast expanse of people with different lived experiences and whatever. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, there are times that uh, compromises are made that we hate, but there may be something on the back end that we don't always see, and that this compromise was
Hmm.
made in order to do this. Now, I wish that everybody always was arguing for what's best for the people in general, and that's not the case. So a lot of times, you and I get upset about compromise because we know that it is for corporate interests a lot more often than it is for the
Hmm.
good of all people. But you know, there at least we got something
but
done.
but e- right, but even in that sense, when you're in Congress, a lot of times, even if your ideology aligns perfectly with the people and that's what you want to accomplish, if you have to compromise for corporate interests to get one part of something that you think is going to make your constituents' lives better done, sometimes you got to make that decision, right? But that's not the way that it will get played out to the to the broader spectrum. So then you can either stand 10 toes down on morality and business all of the time and get nothing done,
Mhm.
or you can make compromises that are not great compromises, from a purely moral standpoint, but actually accomplish something that will, in some ways, improve, the people that you're representing. And I think that's a nuance that voting blocks will never understand. And like we understand it and still get frustrated about it a lot of the time. And again, that loses, like, it loses credibility for a number of my representatives when they do stuff like that. And so like I think that loses a lot of our power if we were in that position as well.
I also think though, if politicians and lawmakers were better at walking out after they made a decision like that and said, "This is what we accomplished. This is what we gave up to accomplish this. This isn't the victory we wanted," but like if there was some explanation after the fact that was very
Mm-hmm.
transparent and whatever, God, I think it would go so far to people understanding what's happening. But there's so much like
It absolutely would. I mean, yeah. Do you remember? Why the fuck am I forgetting his name now? The guy from North Carolina. He was the congressman. Now he's attorney general, or will
Jeff
be.
Jackson.
Jeff Jackson. I mean, that transparency of talking, to the camera like this on TikTok was why he gained a national following, national notoriety for a freshman congressman that nobody would have known his name otherwise, because people were craving that. And then he fucked all that up with the TikTok ban. But again, that goes back to the guy. I lost so much respect for him when he voted on the TikTok ban after, especially considering the hypocrisy of the fact that his entire global notoriety and political capital was built on TikTok. Uh, so
I just he didn't even need to do it. It wasn't even a necessary um
right.
it wasn't even necessary. You could have just and any strategist would have told you not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Any uh any strategist worth of shit would have been like, yeah, don't make that video.
Mm-hmm.
Um because you don't need to. It's not
Mm-hmm.
it's and also, I mean, don't vote for that. I mean, I all of it
He
is
could have
such a
abstained. Yeah.
could I think abstaining is as bad as voting for it, but I mean, at least you could have abstained. You could have asked for more time to think it over. There's a billion things that could have
Mm-hmm.
been done. Uh, and now we know that it's all money. Like it's just all a American company wanting control of that data and shit. Like it's not. There's
Mm-hmm.
no.
No. And that was the thing. It was so blatantly transparent that this had nothing to do with national security. This had nothing to do with protecting our data. Because if it had anything to do with any of those things, it would have been blanket regulation legislation that would have affected Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. But they're like, because we know all the things that they're like, well, TikTok could do these things. All of them had already done that. Facebook for sure. Like
Yeah,
we knew for a fact that all of that had already happened, and they did nothing about it. And it's like, so you're going to take the largest platform, in the country away from people, or one of the largest platforms in the country away from people, and it's either because you don't like the fact that we are, dispelling the myths of Israel and Palestine that the media has been able to build up for all of these years, and the government has been able to build up for all these years, because we can see it directly, or you want American companies to control that money and that data because it's, they're the ones who are paying for all of our politicians.
I don't think they care as
And
much about the I mean, this is not very popular with progressives, but I'll say it. This is 40 of us. It's fine. I think that I think we give way too much credit to companies, especially like American law, like American companies and stuff, with them having any sort of ideological stance on um, the Israel. I don't think they give a shit. I think
No,
it
no, no.
is.
I didn't think it was. I don't think it was a company. I think that lawmakers were getting because it became a toxic issue. I mean, obviously, I think that Democrats allowed this to happen, but I think that the election was largely lost on that issue for Democrats. And I think that, rather than coming out and speaking out against the atrocities that were happening and renouncing the money that they get for supporting that particular nation state, they wanted to curtail the media that was going, because I mean, all of us, I grew up thinking, buying a lot of the Israel propaganda, because that's what we've been taught our whole lives. And even I was more educated than most. Like, I like the way that they got their country was kind of bullshit. Like they just decided to show up one day after the war with some surplus army shit and kick a bunch of people out of their home, and then the United States and the allies were like, "Hey, maybe we'll help you out here because we like the geopolitical position of this." And then we just fucked them, and it's like, okay, yeah, that was bad, but you still we were fed a lot of propaganda, and then obviously like the spell really broke once we started seeing from the ground directly to our phones what was happening, and it's like this doesn't line, this doesn't.
Did you grow up in that very like 90s Christian environment? Like it was
No.
really bad in the South, where
Mm-hmm.
everything was. Uh, it was the real big push of like the evangelical right, like moving into that. It the rapture culture and all that stuff, which is, I mean, it's been around since the 1800s, but like really like that real big like Falwell push in the 80s and 90s of that, where we were boycotting Disney because there was gay pride parades
Yeah.
and just a bunch of
No,
dumb
I,
shit.
I I fortunately did not have that. Like, I was allowed to read Harry Potter and celebrate Halloween, and gay people were never the enemy in my upbringing. My grandmother's Catholic, but Minnesota religious and Southern religious are very, very different. Like, Minnesota religious is you don't fucking talk. You go to church, you have, your church community, and that's your fucking business. It's like your sex life. Nobody else needs to know about it. And
Yeah.
so, like, when I went to the South for the first time and experienced how, like, hi, my name's Joe, and this is the church I go to. What church do you go to? Thing. I was like, excuse me, that's private, okay? None of them, but like, and so like, very, very different experience for me. And then South Florida, half of my childhood was in South Florida, and that's just a heathenist hellscape. So,
Mm.
not much of that there either.
Uh, yeah. The a lot of I think a lot of people my age, their opinion was shaped in that childhood kind of thing where it was Israel good, everybody
Hmm.
else bad.
Right.
Uh, and I don't know. I think a lot of that shine is gone. Like I think the whole deconstruction
Hmm.
period of that is um, is pretty evident. I I know that they try to shape narrative, but if they can push the right they can push the right news to the right people, nope. It doesn't
Hmm.
really cross over very much. I don't see a lot of right wing news except unless I go to ground news and like read, like I'll read on that every morning and whatever. But
Right.
um, for the most, I don't see all that stuff. Like, and then when you do look at, it, you're like, this is crazy. Um, so I don't know. The misinformation is, I think sometimes we blame a lot of other people for being misinformed because they're not looking for the information. Um, God damn it, they're very, very good at misleading people.
Hmm.
I mean, my mother is very, very smart and she supports Trump. I don't fucking understand it.
Yeah, it's always been weird to me. So, uh, when I got to college, for a few years, I worked for the Boy Scouts, Northern Star Council as a district executive. So
Are
like
you an Eagle Scout?
operations. No, fuck no. I
Uh,
went through Weeblos and quit that shit. But like, um,
Sorry, I thought
are
we were
you an
gonna
Eagle
have a
Scout?
moment there. Yeah, buddy.
No, I mean like, I have nothing against Eagle Scouts. Like, I worked for the Boy Scouts. I have like, I support the program in a lot of ways. I just I had a very tumultuous childhood, and it wasn't something that was practical to stick with. So, um,
Well, I enjoyed it a lot.
yeah,
I
no, it's a great program. Like, obviously, got a lot of bad rap from their Catholic Church impersonation, but
All right, so I
the
didn't mean to
program itself,
derail your thing. I was like, oh shit, Eagle Scout, but you're
no,
not. You're
no, no,
just a nerd that worked for BSA. Got it. Let's hear it.
yep, so one of my I don't know if you know how the volunteer structure works inside the Boy Scouts, but you've got like it's basically a corporate structure where you've got like your like CEO and CFO and they're just volunteer names and shit like that. So like my vice chair basically he worked for 3M engineer, like heads a department at the time. I think he's retired now, but he headed a department at 3M. Smart man, obviously, like an engineering department at 3M. Fairly upper middle class, like well to do. Guy was always an asshole. But like we talked about politics a few times, and he was very conservative. And this was the Obama years still. And I remember him going on about how Obama looked like the quote, 'cause it sticks in my head so well, is that Obama looked like 100-pound weakling um, compared to Putin. That he wasn't like standing up to Putin enough and being like, showing American strength and all this shit. And I was like it stuck with me at the time because Trump wasn't president yet. And then when that happened, and like I was still friends with him on social media, and I could see he was supporting Trump, and I'm like, how the fuck are you this intelligent of a person with an advanced degree, and you said that to me? Like, that's seared into my brain that Obama was a 100-pound weakling standing up to the giant of Putin, and then you openly support Putin's puppet. That one fucked with me, and the fact that he denied climate change, and I'm like, you're in the sciences, you're in a STEM industry, and he's like, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And we're sitting in a car, and I'm like, you know how it's like warm in the car right now, even though the car's not running, and it's 10 degrees outside. He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's the greenhouse effect. Like how like that's how it works. It's shining through, and the heat can't escape back out because we have a blanket around us. Um, and he goes, yeah, well, and he just thought about it for a second and he shut up. He had no comeback to it. And I'm like, how are you this intelligent of a person and this stupid all at the same time?
I think it's I think it's the idea. I guess that like some people don't want to reckon with the idea that uh they're doing that the things that they've been doing, like the lifestyle they've lived, have negative effects. And so it's easier just to say, oh, it's always been hot. Not
Mm-hmm.
this fucking hot, clown. Like,
No.
what, the temperature's going to go up 2 degrees? Yeah, man. Globally, what the fuck is your problem? What are you talking about? Um, it's the I. Let's pretend it's not right. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, let's pretend that climate change isn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what is the harm in pretending that it is? Like, let's just do
Right.
better things. Like, we could just do things better. Why do you give a
Oh.
shit if Exxon Mobil makes more goddamn money? Why do you give a fuck? Why does it matter to
Mm-hmm.
people what causes the light to come on when I turn the switch? Whether it's solar, or fucking wind power. Like, why do you give it? Like, why are you so fucking invested in oil companies making all this money? Because some fucking clown that's making gobs of money off of oil told you to. That's it. It what
Right.
solar's fucking pussy shit now because I don't care. I don't like I would much if my options are the lights still come on, one
Yeah.
is sustainable and doesn't ruin my duck hunting for the rest of my fucking life, and the other one might ruin duck hunting for the rest of my give me the one that doesn't affect the birds. I'll
Yeah.
take that one.
One of my favorite things about this whole transition into the modern mega era was how electric cars went from like straight homo shit, right? Like it was always like, oh my god, like, and then Elon comes on, and now it's like Cybertruck, hell yeah, and like they had this transition period where they were just knob gobbling on Elon constantly and still talking shit about electric cars constantly. um, and it was like just watching their brains short circuit in this whole thing. I enjoyed that so much. Um, but I just
I look.
because that's
I'm
like
gonna.
the solar being like pussy shit stuff, like like
I cannot. Um, I judge someone so if I see you in a cyber truck, I hate you.
oh my god,
I hate you.
which is also hilarious because like Tesla went from being like the liberal elitist mobile, right? Like the most NPR shit you could possibly think of to uh like that dude refinanced his trailer house to buy that piece of shit, and I instantly want to punch you in the throat for totally different reasons than the NPR reason I wanted to punch you in the throat. Like the reversal on it was it's been one of the most baffling things of my lifetime. Like I think that this needs to be studied. Like we need a documentary or a book series on this.
There's I just it's a choice to drive a cyber truck. Like it's
It
not
really is.
I
It's such an ugly piece of shit, and it can't do truck things.
it does
It can't.
zero truck things.
Does no truck things.
Other than being huge and obnoxious, like that's pretty
Yeah,
trucky. But other than that,
yeah.
not a
No,
truck. Not does nothing trucky. Uh
no. It gets stuck in this much snow. And how do you pull that off? How do you make something that goddamn heavy and all-wheel drive and all-wheel steering and still that incapable to just navigate a dusting of snow?
let's talk about something for just a second. I would love. This is one of my favorite things to talk. People talk about Elon Musk like he's the most brilliant thing on the planet. He did not.
Hmm.
He didn't start Tesla. We all know that.
No,
He
didn't start
did.
SpaceX either.
He did work on the Cybertruck. Right. That's kind of like his
Uh
thing.
huh.
It
Uh
can't
huh.
do shit. However, the team at GM, and not that I think that GM is some great fucking company, like they all have their problems, but the
Right.
electric Hummer like does all the
Hmm.
Hummer shit. Like
Right.
it climbs walls and shit. Um,
It
the thing,
understood the assignment and aced it. Like, I mean, it's
yeah,
it's an obnoxious, overpriced piece of shit. But if you want that thing to do those things, it does those things in spades. Like you're getting
yeah,
what you pay for when you buy
it.
that.
You're still getting a Hummer. It's just electric, right? And
Yeah.
I'm on board. Like, if you're gonna get a fucking thing that does the things and you can get it electric, fucking get after it. And it's not
Hmm.
like but the fact that the Tesla thing, everything that Elon tries to do, the fucking Hyperloop, the high speed shit, the only thing he's managed to figure out is doing a tunnel that only Tesla cars can get in. Like, but that's very weird that we're just gonna dig a hole and then only let Teslas in. It's a Tesla tunnel. Okay. Uh it's not innovative or anything. It's just a fucking hole that only your car can go in. Uh he doesn't do SpaceX. He just owns the
No.
he's just a shareholder of the company. Nothing that
So
nothing's his idea. Nothing.
no, no, no. Here's the thing. Credit where it's due. Elon did one thing. He was very good at one thing. He did one thing very successfully. And that is pitching ideas that rich people would not normally ever invest in and the government would not normally ever invest in, and convincing them to throw their money at it.
I
And
think he's
making
an
those things happen.
incredible salesperson. Incredible
Yeah.
salesperson.
And that's what he did. And so credit where it's due. Tesla would not exist as the company is today. Electric cars would not be where they were today if he didn't have that talent to take it from some garage startup company. Because how hard is it to start a new car company? It is in 2025 or 2020, whenever for the past fucking 100 years. Starting a new car company has been almost impossible. Like, just the overhead and everything for something that's not very likely to be successful, and the profit margins are not that big on, nearly impossible. A fucking spaceship company, like, unless you're already an independent billionaire just building your penis rockets like Jeff Bezos or uh, Richard Branson, whatever the fuck his name is, Virgin Mobile dude. Unless you're just doing that as you're like, I've got too much money and I don't know what to do with it, so spaceships. Like, starting a rocket company, a privatized rocket company, not gonna happen. And he had that ability. I think he's lost it. I think, his Howard Hughes sundowner moment has long since passed, but that's where the credit was due. His brilliance, if we want to call it that, was selling ridiculous ideas to people and making them a reality. He did not come up with any of the tech to actually make those things happen.
I do think that Elon had his moment mid 2010s, early 2000, whatever it was, that he was kind of the cool tech guy that at least had
Mm-hmm.
he was smoking pot and like come up with these ideas and like being this kind of elevated, what was viewed as like an elevated
Mm-hmm.
thinker that was also in the science sector. And uh he was different than your typical like old white man see. Like, yeah, there was
Mm-hmm.
an appeal to that. And I think that that got him a lot of interest, like the
Mm-hmm.
uh Tesla plaid model, because he liked Spaceballs. Like, that's kind of niche, and I think
Mm-hmm.
people got on board with that. Um, but he completely liquidated all of his social capital, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess he's going to be a trillionaire, but only in stock value, which I guess isn't really real. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just leveraged debt. So I don't
Uh,
fucking know. I hate it.
Corn Diz in the comments here says, I don't feel like we've seen Elon's villain arc yet. I don't know. I think he's gonna fade into obscurity and irrelevance before he's able to complete that. Like, his mental state is not good, and I think he burned too hot too fast to really achieve a true, like, impressive villain arc.
I have a theory about about the new monsters that we invent in the world, right? And
Yeah.
it is that it's all too much money involved, right? Like, everybody that is evil wants money, right? And we're, because it's a consumer nation, like, you still need people to buy shit for you to have money. And we've invested
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff in the stock market. I don't think you can have a truly ideologically evil person over a country unless they are truly ideologically evil. Like, Hitler was an
Stephen Miller.
ideologue. Yeah, Stephen Miller would have to be in charge, but somebody would fucking, before he got, like, he
Yeah.
doesn't have the charm for it, right? Like, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's too fucking slimy.
I mean, Stephen Miller is like, if you were to, like, make a cartoon villain, Stephen Miller is that cartoon villain. Like, Stephen Miller checks every cartoon villain box ever. It would be comical if it wasn't, our country that he was running.
Like, the shitty part is, like, there's a path to Stephen Miller being in charge, which is uh if Trump is impeached, Vance gets it, and they just appoint Stephen Miller as the VP, and then whoops, what happened to JD Vance? And then you have a Stephen Miller presidency. But he is so unlikable that his
Mm-hmm.
ability to hold that position wouldn't like I just don't. You would have to have someone with Stephen Miller's mindset and like a Donald Trump charm that didn't care about money to get to like the Hitler level villain kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The
that's
thing,
my
like,
theory on it.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. And I mean, and we have a few of those in office now. But yeah, it's definitely not going to be Elon Musk. Elon Musk is too worried about being liked. Like, and
Mhm.
that's
He wants to be at the
one of
cool
his huge
kids table
problems.
so bad he can't stand it.
Hmm. Yeah, and so that's the problem: is you can't be a true supervillain and care what other people think about you as a human being, and that's the problem. That's why he's crashed and burned so quickly. See, if he was really on that supervillain arc, he would have eased way slower into the whole White House operations thing. He would have solidified his power and his circle of power within the White House and in government, and then would have slowly eroded anything restricting his power from behind, much in the way that Stephen Miller is doing right now, and Marco Rubio too, to an extent. And I think. Yeah, he just doesn't have that ability. He wants to be on the front. He wants to be on stage dancing around like a fucking idiot and people clapping for him. And as soon as they stop doing that, he dives back down into a ketamine hole and has a really bad day. And you can't be a supervillain and get your feelings hurt that easily.
Yeah, it's you have to be 100% okay with being the most hated person in the room and know
Mm-hmm.
that you are buying your friends and your fucking safety. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
or you have to surround yourself with people that are just as fucking, because none of them like each other. Like they're all fucking
No.
psychopaths. Like all of that. You just have to find people that are willing to put up with you so they can do their own bad shit
Yeah.
separate from it. It's there's a real good psychological study in there we should really do a deep dive into, Jordan.
Oh
Like
my god,
if
we
you
so
have some
could.
time on your hands, let's look into that. Uh
I'd love to.
I get this is what I'm talking. I think we could really get into something on that. I don't even know. I think Putin would probably be the closest person in that category.
Of like supervillain.
Yeah, but I think he
See,
cares
yeah,
about the
I
money.
mean,
He's propped up too much by
he
people that
cares.
need the money. Like he doesn't have the
Yeah.
isolation of power.
Right. He's an ideologue in the sense of like he has a very specific vision for what he wants his power to do, reuniting Mother Russia and but I yeah, he clearly does not care what the rest of the world thinks about him. But but yeah, I mean he's calculated enough and still I think enjoys the power that people with money give him because he's not anything without his oligarchs, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, so that restricts him right there from doing,
Yeah.
um, which is very Tocquevillian, to be honest with you. Just kind of strange.
Yeah.
There's another thing we could dive into. Uh, yeah, I don't think that there are enough uh, environments that exist anymore where you could have like a Hitler kind of rise. I know we compare Trump to Hitler a lot because he's fascist and all that stuff, but
Mhm.
I think that the isolation of uh, Hitler didn't steal anybody's ideology; he had his own, and fucking he hit it a little bit, got to the top, and then fucking
Mhm.
skyrocketed with it. Same thing with like Mussolini, who came out as a
Mhm.
socialist and then was like, "Ah, fuck y'all, watch this," and then
Mhm.
so I don't know. What a weird, what an interesting idea to dive into. I'll mark that down for later.
Yeah.
Talk
No, I still
to
think
Jordan.
Stephen Miller, given the right support system, would be the one. I've never seen
100%.
anybody quite as evil and have that much access to power. You know. And yeah, and we do compare Trump to Hitler a lot. I mean, he's doing a lot of Hitler shit, right? Like he's already tried the concentration camps. He's using the
Yeah,
same playbook as far as like villainizing trans people and immigrants, and Muslims instead of Jews this time, but like same shit, right? Uh, but the difference is that Trump is not actually the person doing any of these things, right? Like
right.
Trump barely knows he's awake. I mean, he's usually not awake. If we're being honest, he's falling asleep in cabinet meetings and then waking up and bitching about Joe Biden and then falling back asleep again.
I love
He's
that
being
Megyn Kelly was
told.
like, he's just tired. He works a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Right.
Sleepy Joe. He said sleep. The number of times that man has said Sleepy Joe, he's not ever allowed to be tired. Also, when KKK Caroline was out there being like, he's got the energy of a 25-year-old.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, there's just absolutely. I'm never gonna let the sleeping thing live it down.
Should we?
He's sundowning.
Yeah, poor guy. I mean, he's 100. We should start calling him Sleepy Joe. Just fucking, just that's what we call. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna
Sleepy
put that
Dope.
down. uh, go. I think that I do think Miller, given the right environment, yes, would be as bad. I just don't think he has the. Not that I hate talking about this because
Ooh,
it makes me sound like a crazy person, but
yeah,
there is uh he doesn't have the charm or confidence that a Hitler had. That, and I think that's the difference. If he did, I think we might be in a different
right.
situation.
Yeah, he's awkward as fuck in front
Yeah,
of
he does that
others.
thing where it looks like his
Um,
shirt doesn't fit him all the time.
yeah. Like he's wearing a skin suit maybe, and it's not actually his true form because he's an alien. Yeah. No. So this is a good point though. In the comments, is somebody said the Heritage Foundation is responsible, and they are, and that is like the Heritage Foundation is the deep state and the evil cabal that has orchestrated all of this, and that is true. And I don't know. I mean, like that's who they're the ultimate puppet masters behind Trump and all of this. Like orchestrated, they're the ultimate puppet masters behind Reagan. They
Which is so interesting that the deep state obviously exists. I mean, that's who it is. But
hmm
they just have a building with their fucking name on it on Baltimore. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I know. Speaking of which, I was going to ask you about this because I recorded that speech that you did at the Heritage Foundation, and I didn't want to post it because it's your speech. So I don't know if you want me to send that to me or send that to you, or if you just want me to post it. But
just post it,
or you
and then
don't know.
yeah, post. I don't have it, so yeah, go ahead, post it, and then
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
collaborate, whatever.
Yeah. I'll send you however to do it. So cool.
Oh, yeah. I hadn't seen it. I hope it looks all right.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I again, I just didn't want to be like taking posting credit for your work. So
No, the message is more important than the credit, Jordan.
I know, but you know,
No, go
uh,
ahead, post the.
intellectuals get very very touchy about our credit.
That's fair. Uh, I'm not an intellectual. Remember, I'm a pseudo intellectual. So
SUDO space
SUDO intellectual.
intellectual.
So I don't care about the credit, evidently, and that is what defines us. Uh. Anyway, what else you got today?
I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't.
This has been a fun. I need a. I still have to do a science video for tomorrow because tomorrow is my science video day, and obviously I'm probably not gonna go outside to do it. But you got any good science facts for me, or anybody in the comments got any good science facts?
What do you usually? What do you usually lean toward?
Ah, it's been all over the board. I mean, if I had probably the most reoccurring themes is like quantum mechanics, like quantum physics, like time dilation and that kind of shit. Mushrooms have appeared a lot in the series for some reason. Just and not even like in the drug form of it. It's just mushrooms apparently are just super interesting.
They are. Do you like math?
And then engineering stuff, huh?
What do you consider math science?
Uh, yeah, it's just got to be like really my only requirement is that people need to be like, wow, I never heard about that or thought about that when I like talk about it. Because it's weird sciencey facts to boggle your mind. It just has to be something like out there. A
All right.
penguin has
Well,
an organ in their head to filter out salt from seawater so they don't die from dehydration. That is interesting.
uh, one of my favorite things about math is the idea that obviously math is man made, right? Like we created the system of it, but
Mm-hmm.
we also in there created the idea that there's an infinite number of numbers, right? And so if you look at
Right.
pi, like it's 3.14159, then it repeats forever. It doesn't ever end. So if that's the case, right? And then what does exist? If there's an infinite number of numbers between 1 and 2, how do you ever get to 2 if
Mm-hmm.
if it's not a whole space thing, right? So you
Right.
use that theory to prove that 1 doesn't equal 1. 1 can also equal 0, and 0 equals 1, and so that there's no numbers that exist. And that's elementary functions. You should look into that.
Sounds very philosophical, but I mean, like, I get the point. I don't know if
Uh,
I'd consider that science, but yeah, I'll look into it.
it's not science. I don't
Uh,
guess. Uh, that is one of the things I think about that a lot, and nobody
that does
should.
not surprise me, honestly. Um,
I don't
no,
know.
I don't know. The one that gets me the most still, I think, space stuff too. I love space stuff. Somebody in NASA is important with 3 interstellar projects in our solar system right now, and like I love space shit in general. Just like love it. I hate that Elon's so evil because honestly, like one of the coolest things of my entire lifetime is the fact that we've got rockets landing, upright on postage stamps, basically like science fiction, like because that's been one of the most frustrating things about my life as I like look back, or not my life in general, but like the time period that we live in is like I look back and it's like you think about like people who were alive at the turn of the century and you went from horses and buggies and muskets and shit to cars and planes within a span of like a decade. Like the car and the plane were both a thing. And repeating weapons and things like that. And then in the span of another couple decades, suddenly you've got jet planes and breaking the sound barrier, and you've got commercial supersonic travel, and you've got people in space, and you've got people on the moon, and it's like all of this in a lifetime of like you feel like you're just rocketing towards the Jetsons' existence, and then the 80s hit and it just fucking halts, right? Like nothing. Like suddenly planes start slowing down and it takes you longer to get there, and then they retire the Concorde, and the fucking shuttle program gets scuttled, and just like nothing cool happens in like the aerospace and technology in general, and besides the internet, and obviously the internet's huge and I don't give it nearly enough credit, but it just doesn't feel the same.
Well, it's
And
also
so
able to
like
monetize it, so of course it got done. You know what I mean?
right, yeah.
And so that's the problem with the '80s is that everything cool that the
Hmm.
government did got fucking stopped because those tax cuts had to go in. And
Yep.
oh,
Well,
we've
and then it
already been
got
to the moon.
privatized so people could
Okay.
make money off of it. And that's like where the thing like we used to do cool shit for the sake of doing cool shit as like a country, as a government. Like we need to fund space programs because, like we should be learning about this shit. And there may not be an immediate monetary uh result for that or some economic benefit to that, but there was tons of them, obviously, and they come. You just don't know what they're gonna be. I mean, half the technology in your house was developed with the help of NASA or because of NASA.
And
Um,
the other thing is, I want to be able to root for us catching fucking rockets falling from space. Like, I want to be
right.
excited about. I mean, it's a very cool thing because Elon didn't do that shit. He just finances it.
No.
And there are
Right.
scientists and rocket scientists and astrophysicists that are doing that work, and that we
Right.
should. God, you want to celebrate them, but it's hard
Yeah.
whenever it's a
Elon's
piece of
attached to it, and that's
shit.
the frustrating thing.
And that's the problem. That is the problem with privatization, though, is that
Hmm.
if we could pay Elon to do it, we could fucking finance it. We could pay it ourselves. and save money.
Right, exactly. And that's what I want. Like, I want the government to take all that shit back over. And this is the thing. Like, we talk about like curing cancer and shit like that, right? And people are like, oh, the government can't do these things. It's always like, who's going to pay for it? And the government's super inefficient. I'm like, you guys are full of shit. Like, just look back at history. When the government decides that they want to make something a reality, it's a reality. Like the atomic bomb, beautiful example of, you know, something that is the perfect representation of the dichotomy of man, right? Something that can destroy us and also save us in many ways. But like, we're like, we need this done, and we need it done yesterday. And cool, we're just gonna build a town in the middle of a fucking desert in New Mexico and build the most advanced piece of technology that has ever existed in human history in the span of months. You know what I mean? And then like the SR-71, same thing. Like, we're gonna make an airplane that just flies faster than anything realistically imaginable. Like, it's not even going to need defensive capability because it's just going to outrun rockets and shit. And we're just going to fly it over Russia, and they're going to know it's there and not be able to do shit about it because fuck them. And why not? And to do it, we're going to have to set up shell companies to buy the titanium from Russia to build the spy plane to spy on Russia because we don't even have it. It's like, you could do that. So you wanted to cure cancer, we could go be like, this is what we want to do, and the government would make it fucking happen if we had that attitude still.
My favorite thing though is that the SR-71 is still the fastest fucking thing ever built.
Right.
Like, we
Right.
just
In the fucking
retired it because
60s.
it's old.
Right. And because we got satellites now, and it's like, okay, it's
Yeah.
an expensive thing to fly around, but like, yeah, like nobody has ever come close. It still can't be touched. Like, you still can't fire a rocket that's going to catch it. And it's an air breathing. It's not even, again, you cannot fire a solid fuel rocket that will intercept an air breathing jet plane we built because we're like, you know what? You know what America's about? Sweet, hot, nasty speed. That's what the fuck it's about. And like,
And I do, man.
it's the
Think
most
about
Ricky Bobby shit ever.
the fucking Cowboys that got in that goddamn thing the first time. They were like, "Will it go fast?" Like, yeah, it'll go fucking fast. Like, put me in that mother. Um, that is. When we talk about like the things that America did well, like that's it. Like that's that. If we had that, we had that mentality toward taking care of one another and also doing that cool shit. Like, god damn,
Uh-huh.
like the fucking lengths we could go to. Um,
Uh-huh.
there's no way we couldn't figure out the healthcare system. There's no reason that we can't. I mean,
Right.
it is always going to be private interest and corporate greed and stuff that stops us from doing those things. Um, and that's pretty obvious. But
Mm-hmm.
man, now you just made me really nostalgic for like old cool shit. Let me go
Right,
watch a
exactly. Like,
documentary.
again, the moon missions too. Like, we're just like in the 50s, it's like, shit, Russia just put a dude in space. Well, fuck it. We're going to the moon then. How? We don't know. We'll figure it out. And they fucking did within a decade. You know, like that's insane. And nobody's done it since.
I
Like,
do like
the shit
though
we
that
used to do.
they said we don't know how to get there anymore because
Yeah.
the technology got like not the but the exact uh calculations and stuff that they use are like
Mm-hmm.
we're not exactly sure how they figured it out. He just sent people like we don't really know
Yeah.
exactly how they figured it out. They just fucking from the
Yeah.
hip. They from the hipped it
Yeah.
to the goddamn moon. Nice.
I mean, well, and you think about it, their air scrubber went out on one of those Apollo missions, and like the astronauts just fixed that shit. Like, they MacGyvered shit in the middle of outer space to fix the air scrubber so they didn't die on the return trip. Like,
Do you think some of that is like confidence of like, I will figure it out. It's fine. Let's just fucking do this
yeah,
shit.
I absolutely it
It's
is.
the
Like,
goddamn boring
I mean,
down there. Put me in orbit.
uh-huh, exactly. Well, I mean, you think about it. You think about that time of like wild, radical technological advancement, and you had people who are like 20 years ago, guys, we just strapped like motors to a kite and we're like, cool, that's how an airplane works now. And now we're like, we're breaking a sound barrier, and we don't even know if this thing's gonna hold together or stay stable. We have no idea how any of this shit works. Here's another crazy thing. Do you know at this point in time today, we don't exactly understand the physics of how planes fly? Because it's like always the Bernoulli principle, right? Like, but the Bernoulli principle doesn't hold up as soon as you go inverted or with non-teardrop shaped wings. So then it's like, is it angle of attack? Maybe. We don't fucking know. We're just like, we know how the numbers work, and if we do this, this will fly this way. But we just no fucking clue.
I do like the fact that we have accepted the idea that we just go fast enough, you'll stay in the
Uh
fucking
huh.
air.
Yep, I love it.
Because which one is which the first Delta Wing thing that they built at Skunk Works,
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't use
Mm-hmm.
the teardrop, and like they were trying to figure out and it's like, oh, how does the lift work? Like there is no lift. Like once you get in the air, it is go fast till you come down. What the fuck? Like that's
Yep.
crazy. Just fucking get her going, boys.
Fire that fucker up. No.
Those motherfuckers are
Well,
from
like
Minnesota
lifting
for
body.
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh
Just
huh.
fucking get her in the air, bud.
Uh huh. Just send
I
her.
love that
It'll
idea.
work out.
Fucking,
But I mean,
I,
like it was cowboy shit back in the day. Like you got to think about like Chuck Yeager, who he's overhyped as a test pilot, but like he still earned because he oversold himself a lot. But I mean, like it's
yeah,
cowboy shit. Like to be a cowboy, you got to sell yourself as a cowboy, right? But
it's the most cowboy thing
he
to
got
do.
in that shit. He's like, you tell me it flies, I'll fucking fly it. Sure, why the hell not?
I, what is it about what do those people possess? Do you think it's because it's not like a death wish? Like
No, I think it's wanting to do something that nobody's done before, and just having that like it'll work out. It's just that shoot from the hip and it'll happen attitude that I think a lot of us have. But the problem is you need a system around you that facilitates those opportunities for you. And especially in aerospace, we've abandoned that. How many fucking 737s do we have? You remember even in the private industry, like individual companies, they used to put money into R&D and they built new cool shit. Like even commercial aircraft were fucking cool. Like it was new advances all the time, all the time, all the time. And then McDonnell Douglas let some fucking MBAs with spreadsheets get in charge of the company, and they drove the company into the ground. And they're like, "We should merge with Boeing," and then they did that. And then Boeing's like, "Yeah, we'll let the guys who run to the other company do our company now, I guess." And then they're just like, okay, so like let's not spend money on R&D because that's less shareholder returns. Let's just make the 737 longer indefinitely. And we're still flying around with a fucking 40, 50-year-old fucking design and no new shit, you know? And it's like so like you don't have that system. I think the people are there. If you build it, they will come. You'd have those Chuck Yeagers. I mean, Mark Kelly even, he's fucking flown all kinds of crazy ass shit as a test pilot and stuff, you know? Like they still
we
exist.
we don't incentivize innovation anymore. We
No.
incentivize cost savings, and I mean, look at it in the things we build. Like, um,
Mhm.
we don't. As much as I hate Trump, like as a fucking piece of
Mhm.
shit, the only thing he possesses that feels even moderately American or presidential is wanting to build a goddamn monument in fucking Washington D.C. Like, it's the only thing. And fuck him for what? Like, if he would have picked a different like Roosevelt, like I'm gonna build a
Mhm.
thing for
Right.
Roosevelt, um, like that. I don't think people would be mad about it. Like, yeah, well, let's build a cool
No.
thing. You know, like that's whatever.
Mhm.
I granted we're wasting money, but I think that those are the things that like Americans like wasting money on. Like, let's build a fucking marble
Right.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and
Well, I mean, like we were just in DC and standing there at those monuments is like it's cool. It's like cool. I have no problem with my tax dollars going to build and maintain this shit
nah,
because like it means something, you know? Like
that
it's
shit's
fucking
rad.
cool to stand there in the shadow of Lincoln. Yeah. What?
That shit's rad. Like, it really is
Yeah.
something else. Like,
All right.
if you haven't gone, you should go. Like, you should.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely feels like the feeling's different now that Trump's there tearing down the White House right next door as you're walking through the National Mall and shit. Like it doesn't feel the same. Like it doesn't instill the sense of pride because I've been there when Obama was in office and it's like this is fucking cool. Like I'm proud to be an American when I stand here. Like all that hoorah, I pledge allegiance, boot in your ass, American pride, and exceptionalism that we grew up on. And I'm like, I know it's not real, but it feels real when you're there. That's gone. But like still just the impressiveness of it, like, is so cool. Like walking into Union Station, so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
There's
The
again,
museums, which
yeah, it's all very like I wish that we were a nation more that was more concerned with what we could do than what we could spend or what we could save. And like it's that fiscal conservancy that does nothing for anyone except for the super wealthy who don't give a shit. They're building their own things around themselves. Like, they could give a fuck if
mm-hmm.
a school builds the way we used to build public schools out of brick and stone that last for like gorgeous. And now it's just like cheapest way we can do it. Um
Mm-hmm.
we don't
Fund the
we
shit.
don't build monuments to education anymore or anything that's made to last because it's got to have functional obsolescence so that we can replace it in 10, 15 years with something else
Well,
or
and
it needs to be
it's got because
modular.
we've cut all the funding. We've cut all the funding for those programs. Like if it's education, we're like, fuck, teachers don't need salaries, kids don't need pencils, like fuck them. And so like you got to build stuff the cheapest way possible. And yeah, you don't get that. But like I think that there's value to that that's an intrinsic value you can't put in a spreadsheet of when you go to learn at a building that looks cool, that feels impressive, that feels important, you have more pride in the education that you are getting there. Like I feel like and then
Oh
that
yeah.
translates to having more productivity, more pride in your country and your work and your I feel like that makes more productive citizens.
You also feel a part of something that's larger than yourself. That
Right.
is or that is made to last longer than you are. It's I think that's the reason why people took things more seriously back then. You go back and you still see your old high
Hmm.
like my people are my parents' age, like they can still go home and like their original building that their high school was in is still there. It's still a nice brick
Yeah.
building. Uh and then they've just added modular pieces around it as it's gone. It looks kind of like shit now.
Yeah. Hmm.
But if we would just build things
God,
correctly,
when I was in elementary school in South Florida, um, so like I went to a public elementary school, but it was like in one of the more affluent neighborhoods or tax code areas. So like a lot of people would try to. Florida's very specific. Like it's not open enrollment. Like you have to go to the schools that are in your district or whatever. So what they would do is people would like pretend that they say that their kids lived with an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent or something so they could get them to a better school district because Florida school districts suck. And So it was this school that was not designed to have that many people. So to start adding classrooms, they brought trailer houses in and just like put them out on the lawn. And like so like I was like going to school. It's like, all right, go learn things, trailer park children, and again one of like the wealthiest areas in South Florida. I was like, man, this is so trashy. It just out here on the lawn in a trailer house, and that's our classroom.
I really think that public schools should be federally funded nationally.
Hmm.
Like we should, they should be regulated and funded federally to some degree. Like I do think that communities should have say in something. I
Hmm.
mean, for sure, but it. I don't think that the idea of property taxes paying for public education works anyway. I don't think it ever worked, but it
No,
definitely not
not at
now.
all. I mean, it's a horribly regressive system. Actually, this is probably one of my most conservative or libertarian views, I don't think property taxes should be legal, at least not on a individual basis. I think that they are bullshit, and I think we should abolish them.
I think that I think the idea of them themselves are illegal. Like I don't think we should have them. I understand their use. I just think that it should
But
come in a different
their use
form.
perpetuates a problem, right?
Yeah,
Like, because like you property taxes, so the more wealthy a community is and the higher value the property, the more property tax
yeah,
revenue they have, the nicer everything is, so kids get to go to better schools, they are more affluent, and so on and so forth. And then the opposite happens when it's poor people and you don't have property tax revenue, and then your roads
right.
go to shit, your schools go to shit. And then again, you can't own property in the United States. Like, I don't own my house, I rent it from the government. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that's
Well, so
bullshit.
I do agree with you 100% on property taxes are trash. Uh, I do think that all of your civil services, police, fire department, that should all be state funded. And every community, like there should be regulation on. There has to be a fire department every so often, like or every so far away, and that way, whenever communities once the schools go bad and people leave, then all that it just falls after that. Like, and so if you still had the
Mhm.
state that was keeping those things funded and keeping them going, you wouldn't have collapse of community, which is the way I would do it. But what do I know? I'm just a
Mhm.
fucking communist or whatever the fuck they call me.
I mean,
Um,
you are an economist, though, too.
I am that, and a moderately good one, I guess. But also a little bit.
I mean,
I,
people pay you to do it, so you got to be not bad at it, I guess.
that's right. But yeah, you and I agree wholeheartedly on that. I don't even know if that's a libertarian stance. Um, I guess I
I
mean
mean, they're
it
just like
technically would be.
taxation is theft type bullshit, and I'm like, I don't know. I really stand on, because like obviously I believe that taxes across the board should go up to pay for the shit that like we all need, and I'm willing to pay a little bit more in taxes so kids can have lunch at school and not have to worry about how to pay for it, or people have a roof over their head. Like, I'm fine with all of those taxes coming out of income, and I believe in progressive tax systems that the more you make, the more you should pay. Uh, I just think that property tax is the most regressive tax system out there. I think it's unethical, immoral, and arguably should be illegal. Because if I own, there's nothing else that I own that I continue to have to pay for. Like, like I own a car and you had to drive it on the road, I got to continue to pay for it, but I can park it on my fucking pasture and I own it indefinitely, forever, like, but I don't pay my property taxes a couple years, I don't own my house anymore.
Yeah, I think that there is a. Now, I don't mean property tax. I do think that there should be some sort of opt in, opt out situation on taxation as it pertains to, hey, if I'm not going to live in the city, hey, if I'm not going to live inside of these limits, I'm going to live out on my own land and do whatever. I shouldn't be subject to income taxes or whatever. I mean, maybe part of it because I'm going to use roads and whatever. Like I work wherever,
Right.
but in the event that I just lived out there and homesteaded and made money, how like I should be subject to no taxation. Um,
Right.
but I think that if you come in like, oh, I'm going to live in this city or whatever, like I obviously I'm going to have to be once you sign that social contract, like you're uh, and I mean, I think that taxation should provide services and not accrue money for the government to spend on crazy shit. Like I don't.
After we just had this whole conversation about, like, yeah, we should have the government building monuments and rockets and brick
No,
and
no,
mortar
no, no.
schools.
All of that. We should have all of that. I mean, um, like the idea that we fund that senators and Congress people, lawmakers, they turn everything they do into a business trip so that the taxes are paying for private jets and shit. We
Right.
pay for food and $500 hammers so that money gets laundered through other things. That kind of shit. Like I am fine using
Mhm.
tax dollars to pay for services that exist for the common use. Uh, I think live all that shit's very important. Uh, and yeah, build fucking statues and shit and big fucking marble buildings that last forever. I'm for it. But
Mm-hmm.
don't don't tell me we're saving money by giving me a shittier school and then you're fucking blowing it on privatized fucking prisons so that a company can make a bunch of goddamn money. Like that, I'm
Right.
not here for. That's it. Like that's my
Mm-hmm.
stance on most of it. Uh,
No, I agree. And
all right,
tax the
listen.
churches too from the comment section. Yeah, I
Tax
agree with
every
that.
fucking church. Look, if you're gonna do good, I think that tax incentive on the front end is garbage. I think if you're a church and you're raising money to feed poor people or whatever, then feed the poor people, send it in with your taxes, and we'll give you a
Yeah,
tax
you give
deduction.
you a tax break on it.
So that preachers and shit can drive very, very expensive cars and have private jets. That's bullshit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
anyway, listen,
And
I have
also,
a
I would rather just have a system set up again by the government that feeds the people and fuck the churches. They don't have to. If they want to go do extra, go do it. But like, you shouldn't get. I don't even think you should get a tax break for that. I just think that we should have the systems in place already as a society that does those things. And then like if you want to do it out of the goodness of your heart, you think there's more you can do, then great. I don't think you deserve a tax break for that. I hate philanthropy. Honestly, I think philanthropy is one of the biggest scams we have in our country.
I think
I think
that
to a certain extent, like I don't think individual philanthropy, like people who give to charities who are doing the work because we don't have those things right now, that's good. It's like tipping. Like I hate tipping, right? But if you go out to eat and don't tip, you're a fucking asshole.
uh,
Because we don't have a livable wage for wait staff. And I do think that there's some excellent charities out there that are doing the work that our government isn't doing. But philanthropy is so often abused by wealthy and corporations to take taxes out of the system that could be providing those things and put it towards something that they deem important or how to just launder their money back to themselves.
yeah,
To
100%.
be clear on why I hate philanthropy.
You don't hate that people are helping less fortunate. You hate the
No.
loopholes and the environment that promotes shitty fucking behavior. I got you.
Right.
Listen,
And
I
the,
have a
and the fact that
3:30
it needs to
meeting.
exist in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah, the all of it is bad, except for the doing good to your neighbor thing. Like I have a 3:30 meeting, so I got to jump off. But
Oh yeah, no, we've been doing this for a long time. This was
a
fun
long,
though.
all right, man. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good.
Talk it easy. Bye. Bye.
Thank you everybody for joining. I'll figure out how to end this thing.